In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
Come on in, Panther Nation. Take a seat for the C3 Panthers Podcast. Tonight's show, Matt Rhule sacrifices coaching staff to survive Black Monday. We've got a tremendously packed show tonight as the Carolina Panthers have, or at least Matt Rhule has ruled the day that he survived this, I guess. He survived Black Monday, but three coaches, assistant coaches, were sacrificed to maintain his job for this period. We've got a lot to talk about when it comes to the postseason press conferences from Matt Rhule and Scott Fitterer and Cam Newton. And I do it with my homeboys each and every Tuesday. Cody Lashney at my side. How you doing, my friend?
Tony Dunn. It's our first Tuesday night show. Outside of the season, man. We're in the postseason. No more Panthers football. You hate to see it, but the NFL schedule is set up in a way where there's always news, man. There are always things happening. We did not get the firing that we wanted, even though we did get some firings. But listen, there's nowhere I'd rather be on a Tuesday night than here with my boys talking Panther football. And you know that we do it with the best Panther fans in all of YouTube. Tony, you already know him. I love him. It's our man, Drew, Antoine Henderson, ATX19, Brad Dugan, Joey the Blind Panther, Kyle, Matt Knows Nothing, Maddie Matt, Nick Gaskins, Rex Smith, Zach Rhodes, your boy Will, Tony Dunn, and nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
The number is 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. Call into the longest running Panthers podcast. Join our therapy group as we recap this past season and a lot of movement. I was going to do a year in review show, guys. I've pushed it back to next week. I've got so much cool stuff to go through. I'm talking about, how about something like this?
It's on you, Cody. Oh, he's actually a mid-message.
My mic was muted. My bad. So, yeah, listen. I even had this thought today, right? Penei Sewell, I love the dude. I've watched a bunch of interviews with him, seen some stuff about his background. He is a physical freak, dude. The Panthers are a better football team with Penei Sewell on it. There is no doubt in my mind. But I did think about this today, man. Okay, you're the Chargers, right? They just drafted Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert and Penei Sewell played together. The Chargers are also looking for a bookend left tackle. I wonder, man, if Penei Sewell fell down to number 8, if the Chargers would be willing to give us maybe a first-round pick next year and a fourth-round pick next year to recoup that fourth, for them to move up for Penei Sewell, maybe the Panthers slide back to 13, pick up J.C. Horn, cornerback.
Oh, look at that. I've been going through all the tapes, bro, and I've got some diamonds that I've been working on, but the news cycle was so much today that I pushed the year in review back to next week. So we'll be going through, and I got to tell you, Cody's got a lot of wins, bro. Got a lot of wins out there. So, I mean, think about that. Called the pick. It was fun.
Your
we
boy's
got some
on
cool
fire.
picks to go, but we've got coaching movement tonight. There's been a lot of change throughout the NFL, but not a change here because CK's in the house. How you doing, my man?
You know, I'm happy, bro. I'm happy we can talk about the Carolina Panthers and not have to worry about who our next opponent is. It's going to blow us out of the fucking water. It's nice, dude. It's nice to be able to just kind of move forward as much as we are, unfortunately depressed by the fact that Matt Rhule survived Black Monday. You know, there's hearing what Matt, you know, or what Scott Fitterer was saying is super encouraging. and it tells me that there's a real need to try to get some stuff fixed that we've seen as an issue for far too long, and we're hoping to see that actually with the first full off season and a full season of being able to scout people. We're going to see what Scott Fitterer is made of out of this draft coming up. So it's going to be an interesting next few months as we kind of inch closer and closer to seeing what our team's going to look like as the new year begins.
Greg, you been binging movies all day?
No, I've been working on videos all day. I like making special intros for special shows, and I got a fun one coming up this Friday. So I'm working on that most
What's
of the day.
coming up this Friday on Yarrow's podcast while we're here? Greg, the Stat Daddy, Bat Daddy, welcome back.
What's up, man? I'm having what I'm calling a Star Wargy. It's just a bunch of it's a bunch of Star Wars nuts getting nuts about Star Wars. You know, it's going to be a really fun time. So,
And there may or may
like
not
it.
be nuts involved.
there may or may not,
How
right.
can they find this?
It's on YouTube live at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Super
Friday.
Civil Service Podcast Fridays. That's
Super
right.
Hey,
Civil Service
right
podcast
after
segment.
Right
The
after,
Friday free for all. See, how about that? You can check out the Friday free for all every Friday at 7 p.m. where you can join the show. Then jump right into the Super Civil Service podcast, baby. All smooth sailing.
Yes,
Let's
sir.
jump into a group of people that are the opposite of the Avengers. A group of people that were Monday's losers. A lot of movement in the NFL. These are not superheroes, it turns out. They are fallen. I don't know what they are. They're all fired. That's what this is. These are fired men. Most surprising and came kind of early was Brian Flores.
Interesting decision on that one.
After winning 8 straight, fired. Urban Meyer was the earliest, though. That was earlier in the season. And late today, news broke that Joe Judge with the New York Giants, who I believe are also 10-23, which is probably the same exact record that the Carolina Panthers have in the same amount of time, have moved on from Joe Judge. They cleaned house. Dave Gettleman retired. A lot of movement, guys. Surprising, some not so surprising. Cody, the coaching carousel has begun, and somehow, to this point, there is a wanted man that is not on that list.
Yeah, sadly, Matt Rhule is not on that list. But I wanted to pinpoint one of these because I feel like we might have a similar situation brewing here in Carolina due to a clip that you just played for me, Tony. But one of the things that you find out is that there really ends up being these large rifts between general managers and head coaches and what players get to play and personnel decisions. And, recently it had come out that, the general manager of the Dolphins, whose name escapes me, he was the one who drafted Tua and Flores wanted Herbert. Apparently Herbert, pardon me, not Herbert, but Flores was one of the ones who really wanted to bring Deshaun Watson in. That's where all those Deshaun to Miami rumors were coming from. They were heavily involved in that. But it's so stupid, man. Brian Flores finished the season on a 7-game win streak. And yet Miami decided to stick with the general manager that has essentially been drafting bust for the past, 2 or 3 years now.
Let's see. His name is Chris Greer.
Yeah, Chris Greer.
Says whoever this is, he looks young. 22nd season with the Dolphins and 6 as the club's general manager. He's been in there since January 4th, 2016.
And it was really confusing, man, because everyone really respects Brian Flores. He comes from the Patriots. He's been able to turn them around and, have them finish out strong. Certainly stronger than Matt Rhule has ever been able to finish out for the Carolina Panthers. And this took people by surprise, man. And then, look, let's just be real, right? We're a panel of 4 white dudes, but inevitably, we got to talk about it too. The one black NFL head coach who's probably had the best tenure and the best job ends up getting fired too. So that's
here's here's the thing that they're not gonna, people aren't gonna say about that, and I'm not trying to be the no race. I don't know. Look, is
I got you.
Chris Greer is black.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, so it is interesting that you could be like this. Is that look, the black guy gets fired.
Yep. Well,
I also think
and
the
that
ownership
sounds
probably
right.
had
Like
a lot to do
I
with
did
it.
not until I just Googled who is the Dolphins general manager. I did not know this, right? But I have been, I've been seeing those tweets. I've been, you think about it as Flores, what I
Yeah.
mean? You can't like it doesn't,
Yeah.
it's at least worth listening to or reading the tweet, I would say. I don't know if it's right or not. But the funny part, or it's not even funny, is people are tweeting that and they don't know that the guy that fired him is black.
Yeah. Well, then I also think the owner, Stephen Ross, probably, maybe played a part in it too. I don't know. I'm not saying that the
Lord,
fire.
now we're gonna hear some.
Well,
wait
I'm
until
not
the
saying that
chat gets
anything
all of that.
was motivated one way or another. What I will say is that I expect Brian Flores to be a head coach very soon. Listen, I mean, let's be real. Panther fans are wishing any day now that we hear that Matt Rhule has been fired, and in return we're hiring Brian Flores. I think a lot of people would like that. But other than that, Tony, outside of Flores, none of these are surprising to me. Matt Nagy to Zimmer. I remember when the Vikings beat us, we had Vikings fans in the chat room that were talking about how pissed they were that we won because they wanted to lose so that way they could end up getting Zimmer fired. So it kind of felt like a Ron Rivera situation over there. Fans were just ready to move on and go in a different direction.
Zimmer's a boss, dude. Zimmer, do you know he dates like a 22-year-old supermodel or something like that?
Oh, does he really? No,
Money will do that.
The one that I did want to talk about also is Joe Judge, right? Hired the same time as Matt Rhule.
Yep.
Similar records, and yet
similar
Judge,
issues with the running back.
Similar issues with the running back.
Wasn't he in talks to be in Carolina too?
A quarterback that isn't worth a damn. Well, so if you remember, Greg, the Giants wanted Matt Rhule, and Matt Rhule leveraged the Panthers against the Giants. They wanted Matt Rhule first, and they ended up getting Joe Judge in return. But the fact that Joe Judge and his Giants played the Carolina Panthers this year with the worst roster, and look what happens. They absolutely destroyed us. They shut us out. Oh, that's his girlfriend?
Bro.
Dude, no shit. Hey, that's what NFL coaching money will
just a football fan is here.
That's what money will do.
Like here, I think I mean it's not here's another one. Go ahead, keep talking.
Well, he can afford her. But
don't, man, or we just give him some dap. All y'all are just tearing him down, man. I'm sitting here trying to build this man. Look at this.
No, I'm sure she's with him because he's just the sexiest man alive.
A great guy, yeah.
Great guy.
She is
a rock hard bod. You
know what? What if she dumps him because he's no longer a coach?
I mean, you don't think she was getting? You don't think she was dating him to get close to NFL players so that she could just be like, "Yeah, honey, I'll be home later. Don't worry." Dalvin Cook is going to be busy for a bit. Don't try to reach out to him, dear.
In our chat, Jake the Snake that's his girlfriend. He just found out on the podcast that his girlfriend has a sugar daddy in the name of Mike Zimmer.
Sorry,
sorry, dude. Hate to hear it, man. But Joe Judge.
Which one of these jobs is the best walking in?
The Dolphins, yeah.
No, I would say
what about the Vikings?
I'd say the Bears. I would say the Bears.
What? The Bears?
Yeah, give me Justin Fields. Give me Justin Fields, a young football team. They have good defensive players.
They don't have a young.
I have to look at
team.
everybody's draft situation too to really, really assess it. Yeah,
I was thinking the Justin Jefferson guy. That's
chat, put your opinions in the chat. Let us hear it. Which is the best job out of all the ones on the screen? I see a lot of Broncos.
See, the problem with the but here's the good thing is Rodgers is either going to go be moving to another team or may have a limited amount of time ahead of him. So while the NFC North sounds intimidating at first, because Rodgers and them are just tearing everybody apart, the future could be all right there. It's kind of tough, man. I was thinking about this the other day. Is like, doesn't it suck? Like if like even if the Jets get a little bit better or the Dolphins get a little bit better, you still got to go against the Bills and the Patriots
Right.
twice a year. You know what I'm saying? And like right now, the Bills are a juggernaut. That's a tough division to walk into. That's what I would just say. So
I don't understand why people are putting Denver. Like they don't have a quarterback. If I'm a young head coach and I'm picking, I want to go somewhere where there's a young quarterback and I can build around that player. So the Bears are an option. Depending on what you think of Tua, the Dolphins are an option. I don't really like. I mean, listen, I've never been big on Kirk Cousins.
Right.
You know, I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback, but it's like he's not my first choice.
my boy Clip always says this is Kirk Cousins only plays good at 1:00 on Sundays, but in prime time or anytime other, you know what I'm saying? Like he's gonna shit the bed. Like he gets on Monday Night Football, done 7 picks.
Yeah. You know,
and then nobody says the Jaguars, but y'all know me. I'm a Clemson.
I mean, I almost want to be the Jaguars at this point. You're coming in to a team.
Both say it so funny, by the way. Too.
What?
The Jaguars.
Jaguars.
Both of y'all say it.
How did you say it?
The Jaguars.
Jaguars. That's what I said.
Jaguars. Y'all say
Jaguars.
Oh, country.
Jaguars.
Jaguars.
All right, fucking British dude. Anyway, but like you think about what they have. I mean, they've already got their quarterback locked down, and it's not like it's a scenario where a coach is going to come in and say, well, he's not the quarterback I would have chosen. I don't think that. I think that you're seeing a lot of really high level throws, but I think his season has reminded me a lot of what Peyton Manning's first season looked like.
Yeah.
You know, like Peyton Manning set records for the most interceptions in his first rookie year. Like it was.
Well, he did set the record, I think, for the most. I don't know if it was for Jacksonville's rookie record or just rookie quarterbacks and just passing period.
Yeah.
Because he passed 57 times a game.
Yeah.
Oh, another point made by Rex Smith is that the Raiders should be on that list too. The reason I didn't put him up there was one, there was already a bunch of coaches on the screen. But number two, I think they're going to go with Fasaccia.
I mean, they've got the playoffs.
They're in the playoffs now. They won a whole bunch of games that they were not supposed to win. They beat the Chargers. They beat the Colts. You know, the Raiders have been doing their thing. But maybe if you wanted to include that as one of the better jobs, I think that would probably be a pretty good one to go to also. How about this?
Have you heard his
ready.
press conferences? He feels really comfortable to me.
Who?
The Fasaccia guy, the Raiders dude? Like, I mean, when he's up there, I feel like, man, this guy kind of just knows football. Doesn't seem, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's like, yeah, we were thinking about, I mean, he seems composed in the press conference, like a football guy, too. It's strange how you can get a guy like a third dude on the Raiders that's a better head coach than any coach we got on the damn
coach
Panthers.
Hey, I want to push back real quick on what Cody was saying with the Broncos, and you were talking about how they didn't have a quarterback, and you wouldn't want to go there. But honestly, if I was a coach, I would want to go there because you have a strong fan base. One, in Denver, and two, they don't have a quarterback, and they're still winning games, which means they're just a quarterback away from being a really good team, I feel.
But do you want to go up there when they're literally on the verge of selling the entire franchise and having a complete overhaul in the front office where John Elway won't be there? I mean, do you want to come and take over that, or do you want to be in an established situation where they've got kind of at least some stability?
That's an interesting
I didn't realize they were in that kind of turmoil.
Yeah,
it is nice to get to be associated with a team that's got history like that. So think about this: is that if you go to Jacksonville, the Jaguars. Now, if you go to the Jaguars. Not the Jaguars. Now I don't know how to say it.
That's what I'm saying. It's one of those words. Like it's just
Jaguar.
You have to build their history. In fact, we're sitting here kind of as Panther fans talking about each and every week the culture, building the culture, next generation Panther fans. You have that. There is some value to having a franchise that has a legacy because then it can't fail. You know, like it's going to exist going forward. But you know what I mean? One more damn, like Shad Khan gets too many clown out days, and all of a sudden he can be like, man, I'm moving this shit to Mexico City.
Yeah.
I don't
But
know.
it-
You know what I mean?
but
But you're never
another-
going to have that with Denver. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know. Wouldn't it be cooler to be like if you're going to be the coach of the Green Bay Packers or the Jacksonville Jaguars?
But also think of this. If you're going to go there, no income tax for the state of Florida. So that's a benefit for Jacksonville and Miami. But also another thing is that the Jaguars, damn you, Tony.
Sorry.
Dude,
The Jags.
but
Jacksonville.
The Jags.
The
The
Jags.
Jags, they have a bunch of money that they have in free agency too, and they have a bunch of picks, and you have a quarterback. Yeah, that's a.
I mean,
that's
that
a
does, but it seems like they
better.
always have that. They always have a shit ton of money. They always have a shit ton of picks, and then they still suck all the time. So.
But here's the thing that I think is different is they've already got the quarterback, and a lot of times the number one pick goes with the quarterback. So what this means is I feel like that a coach can set his real identity of what he wants his team to be with his first pick, right?
I'd be trading out. I'd be trading out.
Well, and that could very well show your identity right there. Like, listen, we're not about one-star player.
Unless
we're about,
there was a,
building these players up to be a collective unit that's going to be able to contribute to on a high level.
There's only one position I would keep that first pick for if I was Jacksonville.
Left tackle?
Nah, I think it would still. I would think it would just like unless there's a defensive end that can. Like if a defensive end like Clowney's type of pedigree came out, you know what I'm saying? Like the guy or Peppers type thing. You just say this is why I want 12 sacks right now. Other than that, I feel like I would trade back. I mean, even just trade back 6 spots. You still get that left tackle.
Also,
anyway.
one of the things that you're going to find out in this year's draft too is that there really isn't a player that screams number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
And I've been looking. So I told everybody I'm finally gonna start looking at players, and those videos, those film sessions, they're gonna be coming to the channel very soon too. But I'm just trying to get a lay of the land for this draft and what I've been looking at. And so far, if you look at the top, there is no one must have like number 1 pick in the draft. There's a bunch of guys that are in consideration. But this is going to be a fun draft this year, man, because especially with the Panthers picking 6, I really don't know how this board is going to fall. I don't know what the teams in front of us are going to do. So this draft is going to be a fun one, man, because it's like all of the more important, like all of the better players in this draft. There are scenarios in which they could fall to us.
Yep.
I mean, even guys like Aiden Hutchinson, Kayvon Thibodeau. And by the way, we'll get to this at one point too. Scott Fitterer mentioned in his press conference that we need to get bigger and stronger and more physical on the defensive line as well. So I'm telling you, it might
I
be
heard
a little...
some signs. I heard some signs that were intimating that we weren't going to probably bring back Reddick.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's 2 clue in each press conference that said we need to get bigger on the defensive line. And you were like, Reddick. That's what I was thinking.
And listen, if that's true, I mean, there are 3 guys in this draft who are looking to be premium edge rushing talents. So either of those guys, any of those guys could be in play, even though we're all over here screaming for a left tackle. Evan Neal is a really good tackle prospect. I've watched the most on him so far. But again, I'm just kind of getting the lay of the land of this year's draft. I haven't even begun to look at things fully. But this is going to be a fun draft. I really do think so.
The big news that broke today, after Matt Rhule survived that Black Monday that took those 6 coaches and probably some more casualties behind the scenes that we didn't see in the process of that. The Carolina Panthers now have announced that 3 assistant coaches would be released, or they would be moving on. Fired, I guess, is the word, according to Ian Rappaport. The Panthers have fired offensive line coach Pat Meyer for his offensive coaching, special teams coach Chase Blackburn and defensive line coach Frank Oakham. Interestingly, Matt Rhule has fired his defensive line coach 2 years in a row.
D-line, O-line, and special teams, dude.
He fired the defensive line coach last year too.
Passing the buck.
So Frank Oakham
which is so
like he got a promotion after they moved on from whoever that was. I forget his name. I looked it up earlier today.
It makes no sense. I'm not saying the defense was like, amazing, but it's just like insane that like the defensive line is the decision that you made. Like out of all the things that were wrong with our offense, you didn't go quarterback coach, you didn't go wide receivers coach, you didn't go tight ends coach. You only thing you talked about with your offense, which is our biggest problem, was Pat Meyer as the offensive line. Yes, was that the biggest problem on our offense? Sure, but there were plenty of issues. When has a tight end been an impact player on our team in the past 2 years?
I tell you this, is that picture alone, whoever let that picture of Pat Meyer get put up on Panthers.com should get fired. Good God, that's not a good look for Pat Meyer in that picture up there. But I think this is Frank Oakham, guys, was a casualty, not because of whatever he did as a coach probably, but it's time to fix the books. Got to fix the books. And guess what? Guess where he coached at? Baylor. So Rhule was like, I got to get some of these Baylor names out of here, homie. So sorry, bro. You are a casualty. Chase Blackburn, surprised he made it this far, to be honest. I thought he could have been the guy that was sacrificed instead of Joe Brady. I know it wouldn't have really been enough. But, guys, your reaction to Matt Rhule sacrificing of the coaching staff to save himself, the lifeboat. Not a lot of space in there anymore. Joe Brady was cast off. They've been bucketing water out for the last few weeks, but these three got to go.
Yeah. So
he's running out of excuses right now.
Yeah. I shout out to Trap in our comment section, in our chat room, because this is the perfect answer. Rhule is running out of people to blame. You started firing all these coaches for what? One, why didn't you do it in the middle of the season? And two, if you think that this is going to get better by hiring coordinators, like this is him trying to point the blame in every direction other than himself. It reminds me of when Ron Rivera, in his final years, made a bunch of fires to try and get the team going, try and move things along, change things up. I think he's spinning the wheels too. And we'll get to the press conferences here soon, and some of the things that were said, but you also have to take into consideration that like this guy, he's so hesitant. Like he doesn't even believe the things that he's saying to you. And you can hear it in his voice. And Tony, you got on to me the other day when I'm like, oh, he's not looking into the camera. Like it's a body language thing when he says stuff. And there's some truth to that, man. You can look at this guy when he says things, and you can tell that one, not only does he not understand what he's actually doing, but two, he's just trying to say things that sound good because that's what he's used to doing.
I think that one, I thought that when Scott Fitterer was asked yesterday or today, was it today they did those or yesterday? Today.
It was
today.
Yesterday.
Yesterday. When they asked Scott Fitterer about the offensive line, I thought he wanted to cry. Like it just sounded like his voice was quivering. I was like, man, I don't know what to do about this stupid offensive line. I do agree with you about the Matt Rhule. You're right, is that he's under a lot of pressure. And here's the one reason that this is not interesting, I think, because as for all the people that called for Joe Brady to be fired, once they fired Joe Brady, I think it was a sign that Matt Rhule isn't going to work.
Right.
And what I think about this is that so what he did now is he has sold us on this idea of building the team the right way. Right? about process, about doing it over, not for the short term, for the long term, right? Is doing this the right way, building the brand, building the culture. He has sold us that from day one. But at the first sign of struggle, he cast Teddy Bridgewater to the wayside.
Mhm.
He cast Joe Brady to the wayside.
Cam Newton, I mean, right out of the gate.
And here's the thing is he's fired all the people under him. And what happens? What if he goes and hires other people and they're just, like, if he hires a rock star coordinator and all of a sudden we're really good, I want to know is what is Matt Rhule really doing? Like, what's he do on this team?
True.
Right. I'm saying if all of these guys are the problem, if Joe Brady was the problem, Pat Myers the problem,
what's the point of Rhule? Yeah.
Yeah, like what the fuck are you doing up there?
Yeah, what do you do? How are you not in charge of this? And why are you doing it now? Like our offensive line was getting their shit kicked so hard this season, especially on the offensive interior. It's like now you make these moves. It's like we see right through it. And how about this? Our defensive line coach, I kind of think that out of all the ones who got fired, I feel the worst for him. Because I don't feel like our defensive line coaching was necessarily bad. I just think that we had two edge players that are maybe 230 pounds soaking wet, and we don't set a physical edge. Yep. And that, in turn, asked us to depend a lot on our interior guys getting pushed and a middling linebacker core that couldn't really help that front seven. So I feel bad for what's his name?
Oakham.
Yeah. Frank Oakham. Yeah. Can I have you pull up the Adam Schefter tweet talking about the playoffs? How many teams have made the playoffs? And
got you right here, Big Papa.
All right, let's look at this and tell me how this is not embarrassing. As the Panthers organization, number one, we already know that he's 0-6 against all the coaches that have gotten fired this year. It's just absolutely insane. But this next one is the one that just makes you really, really, really just like mind blown that Matt Rhule is still the head coach. So since the NFL expanded to the 14-team playoff, where they have 3 wild cards now instead of the 2 like they had for years, there have been 21 total teams that have qualified for the playoffs. That means that 2/3 of the entire NFL have qualified for the playoffs, have made it to the playoffs in that time. All the other teams, the 11 other teams that haven't qualified, have fired head coaches except for the Panthers. So when 66% of the entire league has made it to the playoffs in 2 years, and you're one of the teams that didn't make it to the playoffs in either of those 2 years, and you're the only owner that didn't decide to move on from your coach, I feel like that's kind of embarrassing. And when Adam Schefter is tweeting that as a very clear message to the Panthers, like this is clearly stating this is weird that Matt Rhule is still the coach for the Panthers.
And it's, how about out of all the coaches fired, Matt Rhule is 0-6 against them.
Yep.
All the coaches that were fired, Matt Rhule lost to them, but in humiliating fashion. Like I said earlier, the Giants were one of the worst teams in football this year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the very worst teams in football this year. They dirt stomped us. They absolutely dirt stomped us. They embarrassed us, man.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it was arguably the worst performance by a Panthers team in their team history. I mean, I have a statistical argument that says that's the worst game we ever played. I mean, think about that. The thing I want to just go back to real quick with when Matt Rhule fired Joe Brady, and then now he has changed all this staff underneath, is that the main reason to keep Matt Rhule, right, is the only reason to keep Matt Rhule at this point is that it's not that bad. It's not as bad as you think. We're moving in the right direction. We have like some processes and some evaluate. You know, we know like we just got to get a couple of things fixed and right, and we're going to be significantly better. right? I mean, that's the argument for keeping Matt Rhule in theory, right? Give him the time, let him do it, let him get finally get used to the rhythms of the NFL season, the off season, personnel management. You should be good. You're going to be getting better, right?
Yeah.
What that tells us is patience, stability, confidence in what you're doing. That is what that means.
All right.
Well, you know who the person running the show is? Matt Rhule. And guess what he is not exhibiting? Patience, confidence, right? Is that he's the one firing all these people.
Yeah.
So what does that tell? That tells me that like it's not us freaking out. And that's why I just don't know why you're going to keep Matt Rhule. It's like what's the best best case scenario that could happen at this moment when it comes to the like Matt Rhule? Like if we were Matt Rhule fools,
so
you would get like all of a sudden you would flip the offense. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, well, this is right on what you're talking about. The champs 15 with the 4.99 love bomb. Appreciate it, man. There's a chance for Rhule to still get fired. Tepper hasn't spoken yet, and don't forget, Doug Peterson got fired on a Wednesday last year. So a lot of Panther fandom is still kind of clinging to hope that maybe this might happen. And you see, it's us doing things like this. It's Twitter going crazy with tweets like the ones that you see in front of you. It's everyone saying, hey, isn't it kind of coincidental that one, we're on our third year. Normally, if a coach doesn't show at least a playoff push by the second year, you know that it's not going anywhere anytime soon. At least if they don't show a markable, upgrade in what you did from last season.
Even if it looked better, even if it looked better in any way, shape, or form, it didn't though. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It's worse.
There's not really much you can find to that, like you can pin on, like as a something to be hopeful to build on, right? Still the same questions, maybe even exacerbated more, right after last season. But here's the thing: is what is like by keeping Matt Rhule. What is the best case scenario that could happen for him? That where all of a sudden what would it take to change our mind on Matt Rhule? Like all of a sudden, and next year we go, you know what? Matt Rhule is the coach of the future.
I'll tell you.
I don't think there's anything.
Okay. I think I'm with you, Greg. I don't think there's anything realistic. I do not think there's a realistic pathway for us to really change our position.
Oh, well, I don't think it's realistic, but I'm just saying if you ask me what it would be this, is that, Matt Rhule is in charge of all football. Say so. Yes, all football decisions are on him, right? Well, I kind of hope that Scott Fitterer takes some of that away from him, which we're still going to talk about in more detail. We're burying the lead a little bit, folks. There's something big that we're going to play when it comes to Fitterer. But if Fitterer has control over the roster and takes some of the control away from Matt Rhule, even as far as positions, like what players are going to play where. And then Matt Rhule got to do nothing but coach and just be a head coach, then maybe, and only maybe, could there be a potential that we're just not seeing the best of Matt Rhule because he's having to dip his toes in so many different bowls of water. Yeah, he's having to do so much. To me, that is the only scenario where this Matt Rhule thing could work out. And if we're able to upgrade the quarterback and offensive line position in a meaningful way in one off season, but that's a tall order.
I mean, for me, the thing that I would need to see is again, I think the same thing we saw that we talked about last year. I would need to see him pass the eye test. I haven't felt like in his press conferences that he has head coach pedigree. Like, I don't feel like that I've seen confidence in his ability to. I mean, how many? Like, I think it's pretty much 17 games that we have burnt at least one time out in the first quarter. Like, just little shit like that just adds up. We're the number one team, at least at one point. I haven't looked at the stats recently, but we were the number one team at some point, and in the league for most penalties, right? I mean, it's just these little things that just continue to add up. And I just am not seeing anything. So if you see him just completely turn the corner, and year 3 is like, listen, if we go and we make it to the playoffs next year.
If that happens, CK, guess what's going to happen is that we're going to give all the credit to whoever he brings in as the offensive coordinator.
But you can't for for that type of stuff though. Like, I mean, like the penalties and stuff like that. I think there's still going to be value that's going to be going to Rhule, right? And so, I mean, you got to keep in mind, even if you want to talk about this year, like you could say that he's had 2 offensive coordinators and failed. Well, really, he had one, and the other one was just continuing the playbook. Because I mean, they're not going to install a brand new playbook with Joe Brady gone. Like, they're going to be doing the same shit. There might be a couple of tweaks, but for the most part, it's still going to be Joe Brady's offense. Right. So I mean, it's really one offensive coordinator that was there. And so if things do improve, yes, you can put that on whoever the new offensive coordinator is. But I think there's also going to be some value that goes towards Matt Rhule if he's able to fix and start to say things that actually make sense, that make us believe that he is the leader that we wanted him to be when he came here. We just haven't seen it yet.
Not for me. There's absolutely nothing that he can do. This relationship was broken for me from day one. Y'all know I've never been on a Matt Rhule train. I think the hill's getting big now. It's like blowing up like crypto. The hatred for Matt Rhule, wanting him to get out of here. I don't think anything this guy does will ever change my opinion about him. I'm just done with him. I wish him well. I'm ready to be done. I'm ready to move on.
I just think it's such, like Cody was saying, a tall order, right? Like the things at this point, now that you've cleared all this staff, you said we didn't know what we were doing with our offensive plan. We got to get this offense better. He's going to tell us a lot. He's going to tell us, well, actually, here, this is what Rhule said. This is Rhule in the press conference and the aftermath addressing this very question.
I would say that, we kind of know what our issues are. At the end of the day, guys, we're the 30th ranked offense in the National Football League. We're the 2nd ranked defense. So, like,
if I hear this second
in a league in time where you have to score points, to win. So we know what we need to do to fix it. But just looking at the specific things, along the way, I think at the end of every year, I try to do a good job of really taking some time and going back and looking at each and every decision and saying, hey, was this good? Was this right? Was this wrong? And trying to improve for the following year. But just so you know, I mean, it's agonizing that happened. I mean, we're all in here today working.
We're working
to make sure 5 and 12 doesn't.
Working. This is the thing, Matt Rhule, is you said what's wrong, and we know we're going to fix it. We know how. I don't think you know how to fix it. I think we all know what's wrong.
Yeah.
We can all see what's wrong. Right. But I don't think you know how to fix it. I don't know how, like what you're going to do at quarterback. How are you going to fix that now? How are you going to fix this offensive line? How are you going to manage keeping the defense that is statistically ranked number 2 that gets smoked by everybody, I feel like. But at the end of the day, you're losing Hassan Reddick, and everybody has continued to say we need to get stronger on the defensive line, right? On those edges, like Cody was saying. Fitterer said that. Matt Rhule said that in his press conference. So we all know what to do, but how are you going to do it? That's what I'm saying is I don't think they can do, like if he brings it, he's going to have to bring an offensive coordinator that all of a sudden is a magic man, right? Gets institutes a playbook, gets everybody on the same page, gets this offensive line clicking, and either somehow we trade for a quarterback or somehow he makes Sam Darnold the second coming. And then at the end of the year, what you're going to say is this. Is you're going to say, first of all, that's not realistic. That's what I'm going to tell you first. That's not realistic. Second, we're all going to praise that dude and celebrate him. We ain't going to be like, oh, well, Matt Rhule is the future.
Hey, you want to hear one of the most cringeworthy moments I've ever heard and seen from a Matt Rhule press conference? He was asked about picking up Sam Darnold's 5th-year option. Dude, listen how collective. Cringe.
Yeah.
Bringing him here to be the starter, knowing that if he had a great year, that he would be a high high price guy, and if he's their starter at that number, that's low end starter money. So that was a decision made. It was a collective decision, and I can't have much more to say other than that.
Look at that face at the very end. Look at that face, man. You know he doesn't believe. He doesn't believe a damn thing that he was saying. He knows he fucked up. This organization knows that they fucked up, and now they have to wear it. Now they have to just wear it. He looks like a buffoon, and he deserves to look like a buffoon.
You know how stupid that answer is, though? We could have picked up his fifth-year option at any point during the fucking season.
Right.
No, you got to do it. You had to do it.
You have to do it the year before?
Yeah.
Do you really?
I think so.
I thought you had to do it before the end.
We had a deadline by like June 2nd or something like that.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
No, so we get that, like, they have to pick it. It's kind of like one of those things is, I think it helps the player because, like, but you guarantee you're going to pay them.
Yeah, but you don't have to pick it up,
and then they get hurt, and then you'd be like, we out on it.
Yeah.
So
do you think they felt obligated to do it to maintain, to make that second round draft pick worth the fact that we traded for him?
Right. Because best case scenario there is you get 1 year of a cheap quarterback, right? Because if he does really well, you're going to sign him. So no, it doesn't make it worth it. That's best case scenario. You get 1 year of a cheap quarterback. Then if he does really, really well, you're going to sign him to a big deal anyway.
See that right there? The given signs are excessive blinking and stuttering. It's all body language. All you have to do is listen to this man talk, look at his body, listen to the shit that he says, listen to how he says it, listen to how little conviction he has when saying the dumb shit that he says. It's obvious, man. This man has been exposed to the world, and we're all waiting for David Tepper to grow a big pair of brass fucking balls and get rid of this asshole. But he's probably too rich to care about what we peasants have to say. So,
well, let's stay on the Darnold topic. Is that Scott Fitterer was asked about Darnold, and could he be the future? Could he be a closer quarterback? This is the first question asked to Scott Fitterer about Sam Darnold.
A closer. Are you still is Sam Darnold that quarterback for you?
I think Sam's still developing. We have to help him. Everybody looks at the quarterback position just as the individual. There's so many other factors that go into it: the receivers, the offensive line. He had a lot of leakage. He had a lot of pressure in his face, and it's tough to play the position if no matter who you are, if there's pressure in your face. So we need to give him we need to help him in that situation. He's still developing. He's still a young quarterback. He's been through several offensive coordinators. To answer that, I don't know if he's there yet. He's going to be. I think we're going to work with him to get there, but we're open to the idea of him being that.
Open to the idea. I mean, and again, I know he's doing the proper speak and not wanting to just lambast a player and throw him under the bus. And yeah, our protection is terrible. But again, like, we've already done this evaluation thing. And it's like I said before, I only signed up to do this will Sam Darnold be your franchise quarterback experiment. I signed up for this shit for 1 year. For 1 year. This was the year that we were going to find out who Sam Darnold was. The fact that we failed to put pieces around him, now there was another season where he's had his ass kicked up and down the field. How are you going to find any confidence left in this man? There is no guarantee that even if you did put a good offensive line around him, that he's going to be a better quarterback. Most of his worst plays come when he has a clean pocket, and he'll just throw the double coverage, man. He's trying to find angels in the end zone, dude. It's embarrassing. I'm not, just like what Greg said about Matt Rhule, how you can't imagine what would happen to cause you to like the guy or trust the guy. I'm the same way, man. I cannot imagine like what would have to change at this point for me to think any differently. It's embarrassing.
About
Both,
yeah.
Both Matt Rhule and Scott Fitterer had a lot to say about how the team needed work on the offensive line going forward. Here's Scott Fitterer first, then we'll go to Matt Rhule.
Early right now. our focus is going to be, building that offensive line. We have to get stout up front, both lines, offensive and defensive line. But we're not going to be blind to other spots either. We're not going to be blind to the defense. We're not going to be blind to the quarterback position. But we absolutely know we have to fix the offensive line. We can't have all this leakage. That's going to help the quarterback play.
Yeah, I was to say leakage.
So, yeah.
That said, how aggressive do you think you'll be in the quarterback market, trade or free agents?
I think a lot of it will come down to, how we evaluate this over the next couple of weeks, the new offensive coordinator, what it looks like in free agency when we build our draft board or our free agent board, what the draft looks like. The one thing we don't want to do at the quarterback position is just to force something to get a quarterback in here.
Like we've done.
We need to build this the right way. We need to build this up front. And with that, I think we'll have better quarterback play.
Both of them are interested in the backbone. Here's Matt Rhule.
What would you say is the number one priority that could probably on the offensive side of the ball in this offseason?
I think we have to build the backbone of our team. I don't think we can win without having a dominant, front seven offensive, line performance. I think we've done some investment in it. Obviously, we've invested more in defense than on the offensive line, and that investment is some of the same guys that are here. I don't want to throw them under the bus. It's them coming back and improving. It's the tight ends in the run game. I just think till we can control the line of scrimmage, it'll be hard to win. And so. We've had a couple games get away from us. We've also had some one-score games. In one-score games where we had the lead, the ability to run the football, protect the quarterback, I think is important. So, obviously, we made a long-term investment in Timo last year. We drafted Brady. He's gotten some games down, at the end of the season. But I think that offensively, we talked about the quarterback. Just kind of solidifying quarterback and solidifying the offensive line are our priorities. We have some really good skill players. We have to be able to win up front.
Your thoughts?
I mean, we have to be able to win up front. It's like, yeah, Matt, we know. We've known this all year. Like,
why didn't we know this earlier too?
We did.
That's what. Yes. Like, why didn't y'all know?
We did.
And here's. Yeah. Can we talk about this? Like, let's talk about this for real. Like, they went into last year's draft with a top 10 draft pick with no real need on defense. Like, I know that we had a cornerback possibility need, but we weren't like in a desperate mood for cornerbacks. So that let's take that part into equation. We're not getting a quarterback, right? So what we already knew what we needed. We spent all of our draft picks the year before on defensive minded. We had more draft picks this year or in the 2021 season than we ever had as a franchise. And we picked 2 offensive linemen and still refused to fucking play them. Mm-hmm. Like, that's the thing that irritates the absolute shit out of me. Cody knows this. Everybody here knows this. Like, we should have had these guys out there way earlier. And we shouldn't have
went berserker when he said this stuff. Like, duh. Yeah. Like, this is why is this now just build that wall?
And he also said we have to get better. Like, no, Matt, you are dumb if you think that Cam Irving and Pat Elflein are going to get better than they are. By the way, their film before they came to Carolina was dog shit. Yeah. Pat Elflein, they paid him to leave, man. They didn't want anything to do with this dude. And these are the guys that the Panthers bought in on day one. Tony, I don't know if you had anything else queued up next, but I want to get to that clip that you played.
That's what I was going to right now.
We have to talk about this because to me, this is one of the most interesting things potentially going on inside our building.
Matt Rhule, we know that Brady Christensen has been a focus of topic on this podcast, as well as Matt Rhule has been asked about him several times. Scott Fitterer was asked about Brady Christensen and Deontay Brown and their long-term projection of what they're going to be on this team. Here is Fitterer on Brady Christensen.
But I thought once we put him out at left tackle, he did a pretty good job. I know a lot of people talk about arm length at tackle. The one thing you can do is
like
if you have compensating factors, if you have quick feet, if you have a quick set and take good angles, if you're efficient with your hands and keep your elbows in, play out front, you can get away with it. I mean, there's a lot of 34-inch arm guys that play out here and play so close to their chest. It doesn't really matter. Your functional length is out here. So Brady can do that.
did Scott Fitterer take a jab at Matt Rhule?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, he fucking did. That is a direct jab at Matt Rhule and his arm length BS. And that tells me everything that I've been wanting to know. That I am willing to bet. I even want to apologize to Fitterer. And by the way, I meant Sam Darnold earlier. Greg, I have no faith in Sam Darnold, and I never will. That's never going to change. But when it comes to Fitterer, I'm actually more hopeful about him now. Because in my mind, David Tepper, when Matt Rhule was signed on, David Tepper gave him final say-so on all football-making decisions, right? And then Scott Fitterer had to come in and play second fiddle and do whatever little old Matt Rhule had to say. So in my mind, it's probably the scenario where I'm willing to bet Fitterer has been trying to push for Brady Christensen to start at left tackle the entire time. Think about you're a first-year general manager, and Scott Fitterer could be able to say that he drafted a franchise left tackle in the 3rd round, because that could be a feather in his cap this year. But Matt Rhule didn't even give him that opportunity by not playing Brady Christensen. I think that Scott Fitterer has seen the players that we have and thinks that they should have seen far more playing time than they did. But these dumb arm length discussions continue to be had because of Matt Rhule and whoever the fuck taught him about what players can and can't play football. It's embarrassing, man. The more we dig further and further into this, every single sign points back to Matt Rhule. All of them.
Is the fact that Matt Rhule absolutely refused to let Brady Christensen play left tackle for the majority of the season, is it not him spitting in the face of Scott Fitterer for drafting a left tackle and then saying, you know what, we're going to put him at guard though, right? We're not going to, I know he's been a left tackle and you drafted him. And listen, this is all speculation. This isn't me reporting anything, but you got to think if you're somebody who's scouting these guys, right? And you're seeing a guy play left tackle and he's playing it well. Yes, it may not be in a stacked division, right? But he's playing well, right? Wouldn't you as a GM or as a scout say, like, I think that I can't grade him as a guard, but I can grade him as a left tackle. And as a left tackle, I think he's worth a 3rd round draft pick, right? So spitting in the face of Matt Rhule, of Scott Fitterer by not playing him at left tackle is what I feel like is taking place in that case.
Yeah.
I agree.
I love the comment on the screen that Tony put up from Mark Carson. Does this foreshadow a rift or philosophy difference between Rhule and Fitterer? And, Tony Joe Person came on and said Fitterer, being from Seattle, being the type of guy that they're very specific on arm length for cornerbacks. I felt like because of that, we just kind of dumped it on to Scott Fitterer like he was co-signing these decisions that Matt Rhule was making. But, to all of you and to all Panther fans, hearing that 100% makes me believe that there is a real rift between Fitterer and Matt Rhule, and they have differences on how this team should be run.
Assuming that's true, yes. He could just be he could see the writing on the wall and see how everybody's turning on Matt Rhule and how Matt Rhule's trying to fire everybody and just trying to get on the right side of wrong here,
He did say the exact thing that people who have been anti-arm length, like the opposite thing Rhule said. It's like the damn opposite thing that Rhule's been trumpeting. I just think what is interesting here is this really, like, are we seeing some sort of evidence about who wanted this guy when? Was Brady Christensen Fitterer's like kind of guy that he's lobbying for, and he talked Matt Rhule into him type thing? Because when you hear Matt Rhule talk about these guys, Deontay Brown, Christensen, or whatever, he just continues to say they're not ready. They're not ready. You know what I'm saying? They're just like, they've got, I believe in them, but they're not ready, and we see Brady Christensen at this position. We see him here. We do this. So that's how he's handling the conversation. They asked Scott Fitterer today about it, and the first thing Scott Fitterer says is, man, Brady Christensen had a tough year because as a rookie, we played him in 4 different positions.
All right.
And with limited reps, you play him at these 4 different spots. That's already hard on any guy, let alone a rookie, to play right guard, right tackle, left guard, left tackle. right? On top of that. And so he came out with this kind of empathy moment, kind of like a Nick Saban talking, pumping his guys up after, saying like how hard they. But Matt Rhule's like, well, we see him as a starter, I guess. We just don't know. So why is it that Matt Rhule is so like he always treats him like a stepchild? And it's crazy.
He's done that a bunch of times this year, man. So, Matt Rhule just. Dude.
We still got a lot more to talk about when it comes to the press conferences. I still got a few more clips that have to be discussed. We still have to talk about the offensive coordinator and what Matt Rhule is looking for in hiring his offensive coordinator. We talked about if all of this was essentially a disaster, right? Is Matt Rhule an embarrassment? But now if he does make it through this week or whatever, and we do retain him and he gets his way of hiring these people, we got to start thinking about who he can hire. And he made some comments about what he wants in an offensive coordinator. Before we do that, I'd like to thank you all for your support. The number is 252-228-5098. You can smash the thumbs up button. We love all the people in the chat that are participating in the show, all the input, and we'd love for you guys to get in. Why don't we jump in and listen to a cat call or two before we keep plowing through with the all of this news that has been breaking this week.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty. You shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in his nose? Who's that kid that can use one?
Hey, this is Kevin from Charles.
What up, Kev?
I tested positive for COVID on Friday night.
Sorry, brother.
So I've been, quarantining myself in this one little fucking shitty room from that day, last Saturday to today, and probably tomorrow too. So I've been feeling a little delusional lately, being quarantined, and I just want to make sure this is real. Like, every coach that deserved to be fired on Monday got fired except for Rhule. Like, I'm not going crazy, right? This is real life. It's not quarantine crazy, right?
Nope.
Like,
that's very real, Kevin.
Our entire coaching staff got fired. The entire coaching staff. I've never seen that before. I felt like seeing the entire coaching staff gutted except for the defensive coordinator. That's fucking crazy. Matt Rhule's gone after this year. We just gotta accept that. Just hope next year is going to be competitive. That's all I can hope for. Competitiveness. Just be competitive. All right. That's all I got. Time to get drunk. Peace.
Peace. One. Kevin, get well soon, brother. My Friday free-for-all compadre. Get better, man. Kick Uncle COVID in the ass. I know you will. And then, yeah, man, the Panthers end up firing a bunch of people. Dude, this is vintage Matt Rhule, man. Tony, it's like you said earlier. We here at the C3 podcast, we don't like it when people cannot take the blame for themselves. And when people throw other people under the bus and, send pot shots at someone else for their own inadequacies. Yeah, we don't like that whenever it happens, man. And especially when you're the head coach and you're the de facto leader of the football team. I mean, you're not the de facto. You are the leader of the football team. And you take opportunities to throw Cam Newton under the bus. He has absolutely mismanaged this offensive line. It's been embarrassing, and yet he continues to point fingers at others instead of taking the blame for himself. And it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing, and that's why we put it on the slide. We've said it before. It's just been embarrassing. But you want to know what else is embarrassing? It's embarrassing, the like ratio on this video. It's really not good. And, we know that most of you come here because you have this weird fetish that you need satiated. And, dude, there's all kinds of crazy websites. I don't know why you come here for it. I mean, it really is a football podcast. But whatever, dude. We're not judging. Get off however you need to. CK, talk to your people.
Ladies and gentlemen,
the 2021 season is finally over. All right? We can now look forward and say, maybe we have some hope. Maybe Wednesday, Matt Rhule will be fired. Maybe we'll be able to wake up on Thursday and be happy about the place that our team is at. But I will tell you one thing. You guys will continue to show up every Tuesday, every time we have a draft party, all the Friday free-for-alls. But on this video, you still haven't hit that. You haven't hit the like? Are you kidding me? This is your subscriber shame.
Subscriber shame. 155 people watching. 94 thumbs up. Hit that like. Hit that subscribe. Help us grow the show, man. We don't take no weeks off, man. You have us year round. We don't go nowhere. You are going to have this Panther therapy all year round. Support the content. Hit the like. Hit the subscribe. Hit the notification bell for all the draft content that we're going to be having very soon on the channel. And that's it. That's all we ask of you. Tony down. Let's hit another call, man.
Well, before we move on to the call, I wanted to have real quick one comment about that one. He did say something on this that's bothering me lately that I've been feeling, that I know probably y'all are too, and we've got to face at some point in time, about I'm wanting to be competitive next year. If we know Matt Rhule's coming back, and I hate thinking like this as a Panthers fan, do we really want to be competitive next year? Does that do anything for us? And I hate thinking like that.
Do you see this team being competitive next year?
No, I don't at all. But I'm saying, is it even something we want?
So like, even if you got a new coach, do you see us being competitive next year?
No.
Okay.
No.
So either way, I think David Tepper probably thinks the same way.
Yeah.
So I think that David Tepper is probably thinking from that perspective of, again, I talked about it a couple weeks ago. We don't have a lot of hope this offseason. Like, there are things that could happen that maybe we could be, but I think odds are kind of stacked against us being a successful team or even an improved team. I think that there's a lot of cards stacked against us that we're going to be, that are probably going in the favor of us being a worse team than we were this year.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that my thought is, why bring a coach in here that might be able to do something manageable, but not get us to the playoffs and have his first year marred by that, instead of, hey, listen, let's go ahead and let Matt Rhule tank this thing again. We're going to have Sam Darnold at the helm. We're not going to have any capital to be able to trade for any of these quarterbacks that are out there on the market right now.
Mm-hmm.
Not going to happen.
Well, my question is I agree with you. Like, but do we do as well as we did this year? Is that considered basically us tanking? Because if that's the case, does another number 6 pick next year make us like the team?
No.
Like so do we need to
That's
be
what
like
I'm talking about with Matt Rhule, is
pick
like
next year?
Is that you don't have to worry. You want us to be competitive. We all want us to be competitive, because it sounds so outlandish to think that Matt Rhule is going to be able to put together a team that can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so that's the thing, is I'm more interested in, is there a possible world where Matt Rhule could do something to change our opinion about him? And I'm like, if we go if you win 9 games next year and you I just don't know if that's going to be enough to sway the opinion at that point.
Brian Flores won 9 games this year.
Right. I mean, he won 8 in a row.
Yeah. I mean, dude,
he did last year too.
Yeah, he's had 2 winning back-to-back seasons. That's why, again, I just don't see a viable pathway for us in 1 year from now saying, yeah, I feel confident that Matt Rhule is the future. Right. Because then you just think, man, if we are going to get good, it's because he got this good coordinator, and then that coordinator is going to leave. And then where are we going to be? Stuck with, so interesting. 252-228-5098.
I want to say one more thing before we go. You were pulling up clips for the year-end review. Listen, I want you to clip this for next year's year-end review. I've already made my prediction. Matt Rhule is going to be fired in the middle of the season next year. Because no, this team is not going to be competitive next year. I think we still need a lot more than people think. I think the number 2 defense in the NFL is a very misleading stat that doesn't account for how many putrid offenses ran all up and down us.
Well, and they're
all
cherry
around
picking.
us.
as well.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it really is like they're cherry picking stats. My official prediction is Matt Rhule will be fired in the middle of the year next year after another disappointing start to the season.
I'm starting a document right now. That was, what time is it? How long we been doing this show?
We have
I
been
thought there
doing
was a
it.
time. Oh, hour 9. So that is at 10:09. Write this down because that's going in 10:09. All right, next call.
What up, Tony, Cody? Just want to first off say thank you guys for all the content you guys create. It definitely has been very much a therapy session for me this season.
Appreciate you, man.
And first thing I want to say is that Christian McCaffrey 100% needs to convert to a slot receiver.
Yes.
He is too small and too fragile to run the ball between the tackles. The defenses know that. They're going after him. He needs to become the next Wes Welker, Julian Edelman type player. I 100% agree what you said, Tony, about the call in the Bills game when the Bills offensive line on 3rd and 9 came onto the Panthers sideline, started pushing players around, and we got called for a 15-yard unsportsmanlike penalty. Total Cleat Blakeman, absolute bullshit. I hate that motherfucker. You know he wanted Peyton Manning to win Super Bowl 50.
Yeah.
David Tepper, I think he only cares about making money, and he doesn't give a fuck about the Carolina Panthers fan base. If I was a 10-year-old boy growing up in Charlotte, the last team I would want to be a fan of is the Carolina Panthers, and that is sad. Our defense is pathetic. Against Tampa, Tom Brady picked us apart all season long. That reverse made by Scotty Miller when he ran in for like 30-yard touchdown and not a single player was able to chase him down, push him out of bounds. That is soft, pathetic defense. And our linebackers, probably the worst linebackers I've ever seen play for the Carolina Panthers. I know we were spoiled. We had Luke Kuechly for 7-8 years, and he was a legendary linebacker. But Jermaine Carter Jr. is awful. I mean, he never is in the right spot.
He's definitely not the answer.
Makes adjustments. Shaq Thompson is slow. And I definitely think that we should have drafted Micah Parsons. I know that spilled milk at this point, but it is what it is. Micah Parsons made the All-Pro. He led the league in, tackles almost, lots of sacks. Anyway, hope you guys have a good night. The
Micah Parsons argument is a weird one because I feel like he is the exact same player that Brian Burns is. Like he's a standing up, rushing off of the edge type player. He's not a middle linebacker that is commanding a defense. Like he's done a lot of positives for that defense, but
Kevin's
you also
right.
got
should have gotten damn Slater.
Well, do you know what the sad thing about it is, though, CK? Is that he is so much stronger than Brian Burns. I mean, this guy can actually bull rush guards and offensive tackles and manhandle them. And to be honest, that's not something I've seen very much out of Brian Burns. And they do a lot of different things with Micah Parsons. That guy's like a master of none. If you're subscribed to Brett Coleman, he put out a really good video about Micah Parsons. But listen, the caller's right. It's all spilled milk at this point. But I think that he points to something.
What does a master of none mean?
Well, it's like, it's
a jack of all trades, master.
Yeah. It's like saying you're
He's
good
a master of all.
Yeah, you're good at all of the categories, but you're a master of none of them. So, for example, Michael Parsons is a really good pass rusher, but he's not the type that you want to just leave out there and like you want to move him around pretty much. And he does good at all of it. But as the call was saying though, we have a bunch of players on our team that we have to find out the hard way. They're just not elite level talents. Jermaine Carter is not an elite level talent. Shaq Thompson, for as good as he is, we've had our ups and downs with Shaq before. He's been the type of player that we've been kind of disappointed with.
This year.
Yeah, his best year was this year by far.
you can't really expect it to more than that, right? Like that's the best you're gonna get, probably.
100%. I think so.
This defense could go from being number 2 to being number 22 if we don't watch out.
Well, that's more realistically what it is. You know,
I know.
Hey,
I don't get that number 2 defense mess.
hey, while you're writing down bold predictions for end of show reviews, I can make one for this year too to start out that you can take down. Is I don't
All
think
right.
Christian McCaffrey is a running back for Carolina ever again.
So, do we
Which
think
opens
that
up
this
him being
Ever
traded
again. Ooh,
which opens
that
up
one's
him being
definitely going up
traded
there.
or moving to wide receiver. So I don't think he's the running back for Carolina moving forward.
Hey, cover me for a sec.
Yeah,
He
I
must
agree.
have a mouse in the house.
I was thinking the same thing. Aren't there reports that we're listening to offers for Christian McCaffrey
I've
right now?
seen stuff, but I don't know about anything official.
Yeah, Scott Fitterer said this. He met with Christian McCaffrey, spent 30 to 45 minutes talking with him. I didn't pull this audio out of the million things I pulled. It's the last question they were really asked about, I think, in the press conference. He said that very open and candid with Christian McCaffrey that they see his future with the Carolina Panthers. They think he's a special football player, right? But at the same time, as his job as a GM, if people call, he has to listen. So he said, we're not actively shopping you, but if someone calls and offers a king's ransom, I have to, in good faith for my job, consider it. So he just said, I told Christian McCaffrey that, but he said, we're not trying to trade you, but I'm in on every deal.
Sounds like something the Rams would do.
Well, you know who the team that we identified in the post game is, or we told somebody else. This has been a couple of times that it's been mentioned on this podcast, is the Bills.
Dude, I was actually at a that afternoon before the early games. I was actually at a fantasy dinner for giving out rewards for the fantasy fantasy lunch. And the Bills fans were like, the guys that are there's 3 Bills fans in there talking about that. They were like, do you guys want to get rid of Christian McCaffrey? I was like, yeah. They're like, what do you think you guys would get? And I said, we wouldn't get a first. We'd get a second round. And they said,
I don't think you'd get like a 4th, man.
No, you can at least get a second out of it. You know, because he is, I mean, when he is healthy, I think a second round is you got to keep in mind, we literally traded a second round for Sam Darnold, right? I mean, so
we traded more for Sam Darnold.
Right, you did what, a second and a 5th or something like that, but we got a 6th back or something like that.
2 and a 4, 2 and a 4.
But we got like a 5th back or something.
It was like a 2. We might even given 3 picks for Sam Darnold, like a 2, a 4, and a 6, and then got a 6 or something. I don't know what that means, but I mean, I know what I was trying to say. I don't know how to say it.
I just wish he'd play slot receiver. The caller was right, man. He would be a Pro Bowl wide receiver if he would just play slot receiver.
Well, Matt Rhule was asked about that in his press conference yesterday, and he also said that one of the things when they hire an offensive coordinator is that part of the thing is how can we use Christian McCaffrey to our best ability is going to be a big part of their pitch that they need to answer.
Because you can still use him as a running back,
And he wants to see it as multiple, right? I mean, he didn't say the word multiple like he usually says, but what he's saying is that like it would be ridiculous to say that you wouldn't use Christian McCaffrey as a receiver, right? That would be ridiculous. Imagine you said this. No, he's such a pure running back. We're only going to run him through tackles. Right. You'd be like, that's the most ridiculous thing I've heard. So he's saying if that's ultimately ridiculous, then saying that you won't run, we need to find a way to use him in a variety of ways that take advantage of him being a Swiss Army knife. Like that's what makes him special, is being able to do all this shit. So, you know, how to use Christian McCaffrey is on their mind. Mm-hmm. And actually, I would say that was one of the parts of Matt Rhule's press conference that I got the most irritated with. Is my man was talking about we've been studying running backs from all over the history of time, carries, number of carries. We got analytics guys. We got all of this. We're going to basically crack the code that is Christian McCaffrey. Okay. Well, why wouldn't that make you mad? That would make me, all right. I mean, that doesn't make me mad. The fact is that they spending a bazillion hours trying to figure out how to use Christian McCaffrey, all these analytics, dude, and nobody can look over there and say the fucking offensive line really sucks, dude.
Yeah.
Like, why are we? I mean, I heard this thing when they asked him about Terrace Marshall Jr. and about how this injury, they said, and he said this is not a serious injury. It's a 2-week, 3-week injury, but we're at the end of the season, so we put him on IR. Right? He tried to immediately say this ain't a big deal, but he said, this is what my man said. He said Terrace came in here and he had some injuries, and we know that. We knew that. That's why he slipped. We think he slipped. He said, so we've been he said we knew this was going to be part of him, and we've been working with the best doctors, the best physical, all of this. We have decided, we figured out he needs a different type of gait to avoid injury. So you're trying to tell me that you can take a guy who is a star wide receiver or whatever, and you are so fucking smart that you can change the way he walks, his running motion, right? Oh, we think we can adjust some things about his gait that will really extend his durability, but you can't look over there at the offensive line and see that they just trash. Mm-hmm. How can you do that? That's like saying, I know how to teleport through time, but I can't drive this Toyota Corolla over to the damn Walmart. It's insanity. I just think we're hearing it's insanity. Cody, they tried to tell us that they got analytics guys cracking the code of Christian McCaffrey. Terrace Marshall Jr., we're going to change the way he walks to avoid injury, to take pressure off of his feet. But we can't just look over there at the offensive line and say they're terrible. It took us a year and a half to figure that out, but man, we were all over this shit.
Yeah, man. It's and look, how many times we have so many fans now, pretty much unanimously calling to move Christian to slot receiver.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mind it, man. I mean, listen, receivers get paid big money. I mean, he might as well be a receiver, man. If we can have another downfield threat.
And you can still run the ball with him too.
Yeah, and that's
receiver
what I'm saying.
You can't line him with the back.
You can dramatically lighten his load that way, but still have him be a feature player in your offense.
Can we be real about it? Like, I think that if you moved him to slot, he'd still be a top 5 slot receiver in the NFL.
Yeah, and I know you said 100%. That for a while.
I mean, he would be the number 1 receiver on the Panthers, arguably.
Yeah. I mean, the top 5 slot receiver might even be selling it short. You could just say top 5 overall receiver. I think he could be, because he would play the slot, but he's still going deep. He could still catch a deep ball.
Yeah, I mean, he's, when you look at the wide receivers, man. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I would be able to put him above, 5 of the top wide receivers in the NFL, especially with Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson coming on.
They said that about
he's
Cooper
just a
Kupp,
star, though, I think is what Greg's saying. You know what I'm saying? He's a star. It's like wherever he is, he's going to be making highlight reels. Let's go to the next call. Let's push through some calls.
Hey, guys. It's Chuck from Lisbon City, a.k.a. Charles Sports Guy. Calling one last time.
Oh, this is
But I just wanted to thank Tony, you and Cody. You guys know CK and Bad Daddy. And you guys really bring it all the time, But one thing I do have to put out there, going into this season, we saw our offensive line problem. And even though we started out 3-0, we knew, why did they cut the David Moore guy that was the big free agent, non-signing out of Grambling? And we thought, wow, we picked him up, but then we cut him. We knew we were going to have a problem with Cam Irvin, Pat Elflein. We already had issues with them signing him. We signed Moten. Although that's good to a point. When we go into the draft, we can't get Sewell. We passed on Slater. We didn't know.
It's malpractice, dude.
But the point is, we get Brady Christensen. We bring, Big Deontay Brown in. We passed on Trey Smith. We never really addressed the line. And it wasn't just a tackle. Center's a weakness. And these guards had no push. Look at another issue.
Humphrey.
Joey Sly had no competition. They signed a punter. They signed a free agent punter to challenge the guy we've already cut, Charlton now. To give him competition. We never challenged Joey Fly until he got down to the last week of free agency. Will Greer was a bust to begin with, but we kept PJ Walker. If PJ Walker's better than Will Greer, then neither one of them needs to be here. Garner wasn't the answer. We bring Cam in late. That's desperation. One thing about going into next year, Matt Rhule's given this extra year. He's going to be scrutinized. And Fitterer is too for the first time with the free agents he brings in, the ones he loses, the ones he keeps. Draft doesn't have as many picks unless we trade out, and we're still not going to have as many picks as last year. So he's going to be really scrutinized on that. But the big point is going to be when we hit training camp. How well is this team put together? Keeping 4 or 5 tight ends on the roster last year, on the 53-man roster. Head-scratching moves, letting some people go. Keeping a Giovanni Ricci to play tight end and fullback and all that. What a joke. And I just want to see how this roster in training camp next year develops, because we're going to have some other issues. Matt Rhule can't sweep on the rug. Remember, we thought that, hey, Joe Brady's playbook, we're just not opening it up yet. Remember that in preseason? We just didn't open it up yet. We want to wait. Problem with it wasn't
To
a
be
playbook.
fair, I don't think it ever did
a
open.
play page. All he had was a play sheet. And that's the issue. He's not going to be able to hide under anything anymore. Going into next year, it's going to be called out right away. So his rope is a little short.
And again, this comes back to it's interesting when Matt Rhule says that they know what's wrong, right? Is that they know that building this offensive line, or what he described as the backbone, is what they need to do. It's when Scott Fitterer talks about building an offensive line and needing to do that. We all knew it. They all knew it. They should have known it. How about this? If they didn't know it, they should be brought up on criminal charges. That this offensive line, the fact is that they played above their station last year, and people said they were trash last year, and you got worse. They got worse. And they already stunk. So let's keep going with the calls.
Well, that was part of real quick. That's part of why I think there is a bit of a split between Fitterer and Matt Rhule. Because listen, okay, there's only 5 offensive line positions. Okay, imagine if we actually fixed 2 of them in the most recent draft that we had. Every single time we see Deontay Brown, he's pushing a man into the backfield. Scott Fitterer told you right there, he doesn't care about the arm length stuff, and that there are ways to overcome it. And by the way, lots of people know this. So, I really do think that there's a real rift there. So, when Chuck says that we didn't do a good job addressing the offensive line, it's yes and no. I still would have wanted to take Rashawn Slater just so that way we could finally have that Pro Bowl young left tackle like we wanted and needed to have. But then, there were picks that we did make, and we're still wondering about what kind of players they are. We were not given the proper time to evaluate the talent on our football team.
I don't care. We still didn't allocate enough draft capital early enough. I don't care. I don't want a project guy that we got to try. We could have used those project guys. We could have picked Rashawn Slater in the first and still pick Brady Christensen, Deontay Brown, and still have needs this year. Right? So that there has been zero. The Panthers front office for the last decade has failed us in the idea. They now are telling us they know that if you want to win in the NFL, you got to have an offensive line. Gosh, I tell you this, is Matt Rhule, clearly what I learned from his press conference is that he is from the school of hard knocks, because we could have told you that. We've been telling you that. We've been bitching about this offensive line for 9 years. And then, there's been nothing done like really outside. We're talking Trey Turner. third round pick, best one.
Well,
Greg Little, second. We haven't done anything. So I'm sick of people saying, "Oh, we get it now. We get it. We get it." What took so damn long to get it? Rashawn Slater was there last year. We picked Derek Brown. And you know what? God bless Derek Brown. I'm not trying to trash on these guys, but like at some point you can't tell me the offensive line is important and then you never do anything about it.
And when you do, you still don't do anything about it. Like
exactly.
You draft
barely
guys,
do something about it.
You barely even play them. Yeah.
Were we doomed from the start though? Like, say you drafted Slater and then you still drafted Christensen and Brown. Like, does that are we a 7-win team? Are we an 8-win team? Like, does that change it that much?
I think that
maybe
we
we're
would
an 8-win team, but we have hope going forward at least.
I think
right?
that we could have at least been in the playoff conversation.
Okay.
Whether or not we would,
and with hope going
forward. Whether or not we would have made it, that's a whole different issue. But hey, real quick,
wouldn't you have a better?
But hold on, real quick. We got some Falcons fans in the chat that are like pretending that they're like a better team than us and that we're the embarrassing ones. I know y'all ain't talking, bro. Y'all are the epitome of embarrassing teams, bro. Don't be all happy just because Georgia finally won a national championship. That's not y'all. It's never been y'all. It never will be y'all. Y'all are the bottom feeders of the NFC South. Sorry, I had to do it, Tony.
The thing about this is just and then we'll go to the next call. Is
to be fair, we do have a worse draft position.
To answer your question about would we be better if we would have drafted Rashawn Slater, we wouldn't be worse.
Agreed.
You know, we wouldn't be worse.
And
we would be getting closer to this. Is that if we would have drafted or spent a little bit more, if we would have gotten some shit right. See, here's the thing: is every time we did do anything about the offensive line in the past, it's been wrong as shit. I.e., Matt Khalil. Right? We could have had Russell Okung. Then we go with Matt Khalil. Russell Okung turns out to be good. Matt Khalil turns out to be trash. Right? I mean, you got like every time you try to do something, Greg Little, you trade up for Greg Little, he stinks. Right? Like you try to do these things and they're barely trying. It's like you bring in Walmart flowers to your wife to try to make up. Like you stopped and bought some dead looking flowers and you're saying, "I'm sorry, baby." You put some gas station cologne on you and you're apologizing. We had the opportunity to buy a real gift, get down on our knees and beg for mercy and get some offensive linemen in the last couple of years. And this one being a prime spot. Right. And yeah, we didn't know that Rashawn Slater was going to go to be an all-pro. But I tell you this is that this offense, how about this? If this offensive line was a little less offensive, we might have a better gauge about who the problem is with Sam Darnold, with Joe Brady, with Matt Rhule. You know what I'm saying? Now we don't know. Like, I mean, it's so bad. Like, I even feel bad for Sam Darnold behind this line.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel bad for everybody. And hey, before we go to the next cat call, don't be a fake gangster up in our fucking chat room threatening violence on people, because that shit don't fly nowhere, so bro. Funny. I'll put the band hammer on your ass so fucking fast. And you're a Falcons fan? Boy, you better sit your ass down. Let's go, Tony. Man, I have no time for some of these Falcons fans. Well, hey, Mikey Mills, you're cool, though. Mikey Mills is cool. He's just hanging out.
Next call.
What's up, guys? It's Matt here. Just want to talk about what Scott addressed in terms of the offensive line and defensive line and how, building the trenches is very important. I just want to quickly point out that our schedule next year against the AFC North and the NFC West are easily the two most difficult divisions to play in right now, let alone play against. On top of that, we also play the Lions, who I see beefing up next year under Dan Campbell and what he's going to do for that team, as well as the Broncos and the Giants again, if I'm not mistaken. Honestly, I'm looking at it and I'm like, we are so far behind and the rest of the league is not going to wait for us that we might be lucky to win a few games. Like, I don't want to sound pessimistic or not pessimistic, but negative or anything like that. But being realistic and seeing what we've done this year, if Scott is really adamant about doing that, then we need to invest heavy into both lines, because I'm looking at it, the Bengals are still a really good team. And even without some of the pieces that they're going to miss next year, the Browns, the Steelers, and the Ravens are still solid teams. Mind you, the Browns and the Steelers might have quarterback issues. Their defense is still problematic. I mean, you have two of the best defenses, or I would say two strong defenses at the very least in that league. In that division. And then on the NFC West, there are 3 playoff contenders in that division. The Broncos are a well-run team that has a lot of depth to it, especially on the defense. The Giants are questionable. I don't think that they're a good team at all. So I'm looking at it, and I'm like, there might be a chance that we might beat the Seahawks. We might beat the Lions. You have to be adamant. You have to make sure that if this is what you're saying, then that is what you're going to do. I don't want to see us drafting a quarterback in the first round.
Agreed.
I mean, I think they've already come to terms that they are going to ride the wave with Sam Darnold. But we really have to prepare for next year, because I do not feel like, and I know nobody else feels like, getting embarrassed the way that we have been. Not even putting up 10 points for most of our games. That's humiliating. That's not football. That's so embarrassing. You put up you get shut out 25-3. You show the big lead, we'll do good on the first drive, and then.
That's the call right there. That's it. It just, he hit the 3-minute mark.
Yeah, I know CK and I agree with the non-quarterback thing in the first round. And again, I haven't done my full top to bottom evaluation yet, but I can't imagine that there'd be a player that I haven't known about yet at this, far along after the season is over, that isn't in consideration to be a top 10 pick at quarterback. So yeah, I just don't think that we should too, man. We need to build this offensive line. But to be fair, if you listen to Fitterer and Matt Rhule, they continuously harped upon the offensive line and defensive line. So I really wouldn't worry about it. I think that if the Panthers are going to upgrade the quarterback position, it's going to be through free agency and not in the draft.
They were asked a lot about Pickett, interestingly, but it's kind of a silly question to ask. All right, here's probably, bet you this blind guy's mad.
Hey guys, it's Joey. Make sure to call 10 minutes before the damn show starts, because y'all didn't play my call on the post game for whatever reason. I
specifically remember hearing.
I wish you would have, because I made some good points in it. But oh well. About Matt Rhule. Of course, I know this is probably where most of the calls are going to go. Why didn't we fire him? Why didn't we fire him? Well, because look at all the other jobs we're going to be competing with. We already know Jacksonville's looking for a head coach. And what do they got? Oh, that's right. They've got the number 1 pick, and they've got Trevor Lawrence at quarterback. So there goes one of the best head coaches probably going there. The Dolphins are in Miami. They fired Brian Flores because I think the Miami Dolphins might be tripping on some of that cocaine from Colombia that they get at the international airport there all the time. Because I don't think that was smart. But anyway, now we got them to compete with, and they're in Miami. And who doesn't want to be known in Miami, which is very hard to do. Trust me, I've been there twice. And I get ate up at every bar I go to here, not so much in Miami. But we got them to compete with, and they've got some.
Are you saying they don't like blind people in Miami?
Want to go to Miami.
Is that what he just said?
Got the Giants. Giants I'm not worried about, because the Giants are whatever John Mara wants. Minnesota. that's an organization that's well respected. Denver, another organization that's well respected. Chicago's got Justin Fields. So yeah, we're screwed, dude. No head coach is gonna want to come here, especially one that's better than Matt Rhule.
And even
Anyway,
Joey
guys.
can see that.
Wow.
Good call, Joey. All right, let's
Fantastic
keep going.
call, Joe.
What's going on, C3 Nation? This your boy James. Hitting y'all up.
What up, Jay?
I say this, man. 2022 is my last time dealing with the Carolina Panthers. I ain't wearing no gear. I ain't going to no training camp. I ain't watching no Carolina Panthers game. Other than they playing the Steelers. That's my other team. But I am not anything Carolina Panthers. I'm just not. I'm through
Jay.
for this year.
That easy.
Hopefully they can have another bad year and Matt Rhule get fired. And I know people say, why would you wish bad on your team? I just don't want Matt Rhule here. Matt Rhule got to go. In this front office, this franchise is so stupid. It just, the writing is on the wall. And everybody talking about third year. He can get it third year. Keep crying out third year. Dude, you're supposed to get it in your second year. You haven't made any progress or nothing. Everybody want to talk about it takes a while to build a team. No, it doesn't. If your coach know how to coach, and your front office know how to do their thing, you can build a team, and you can in 2 years, basically in one. Especially when you got the right pieces around. This dude turned the Carolina Panthers into Temple and Baylor, a Temple and Baylor pro team.
Yeah.
And he's steady talking about the progress is working. The progress is not shown on the field. It hasn't shown on the field in those 3 wins that they got. It just.
I'm gonna stop you right there, Jay, because I want to play this because I think this is a good kind of segue to this point. Is that we got some Atlanta people in here saying, damn, y'all sound like Atlanta fan, like the sky's falling, like it's bad. This shit's bad here on these streets of Carolina. They terrible. It's terrible. And Matt Rhule is a problem. This is where, and to the point, my man said he ain't going to watch a game anymore. Like he said, I will not even, you say Carolina Panthers and I say no. Carolina Panthers, no, that's what he's doing. Like out there in the hallway, chanting against them, protesting. But this is how Rhule drives you crazy. This is Matt Rhule, and this is today when I lost it. I don't know if how many more press conferences I got in them. You know what I'm saying? Like in me, they're getting worse. How about this? Is I wanted to see progress for the Carolina Panthers. What I saw is that the press conferences from Matt Rhule matched the performance on the team. They just went downhill all year long. Here's the final one. I just about lost my mind on this one.
You're putting together a roster in the offseason as if you're on the hot seat. Do you do that differently versus if you have 7 years to get the job done, and how do you maybe, I don't know, combine those?
That's a great question. It's why I think a lot of teams make bad decisions because they don't think long-term strategy. They go all in to try to win now, and then you end up, having 10, 15, free agents leave, and you have a depleted roster, right? So I think you see it year in and year out. So
he's talking to Tepper, not us.
No, listen to this bullshit. A man who has coached 2 seasons in this league, a man who has just fired his entire staff, a man who is arguably, actually just not arguably, just looks in over his head at every point and clearly has no plan. Like, that's the problem. We have been saying this. It's not the 5 wins that were the problem, dickhead. It wasn't the 5 wins. I would have been very happy with 5 wins. I bet the under on everything before the season. We'll go back and look at those bets. Greg owed me $5, right? But I said this team's going to be under 6, but that's okay. I'm all right with that. I just need this team getting stronger and better for the future. But here's the problem. This motherfucker who just fired his whole staff is going to try to tell me about other people's mistakes in the league. Oh, this is where they get it wrong. They don't think long term. They just cut Cam and get Teddy Bridgewater and then cut him and then trade for Sam Darnold, then quit on him. And then, oh my God.
How would you know, college coach? Yeah.
I mean, like, you don't know shit about like this plan and this patience. He's preaching preaching patience, and he just fired his whole staff.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
He's a fucking hypocrite, dude.
It makes no sense, dude. And then listen to this. He's like,
I am going to serve the Carolina Panthers. I am always going to make the right decisions in the long-term interest of the Carolina Panthers.
I am always going to make the right decisions. You ain't made a right decision yet, homie.
In fact, all he makes are bad decisions.
All right, let's keep hearing how you're like. I mean, it's just like crap. I feel sorry for it.
However, that works out for me. Again, Scott, obviously, he's making a lot of decisions, in terms of personnel. He and I work very well together.
And he is, oh my God.
I want to build a Super Bowl champion. So Scott wants to build a Super Bowl champion. So to me, there's no quick fix to that. So we've kind of done what we've done so far. I think we've made some progress in some areas. Obviously not enough. We're going to have to make changes, personnel wise in terms of, adding some things on offense. We've talked about that. We know where our issues are. But to go out and sell the farm for 1 or 2 more wins, I think that happens all the time. I think we're going to be methodical, about everything that we do, and just say, hey, what's in the best interest of the Carolina?
What does that even mean?
I love Matty Matt. I died too when he said,
"What in the fuck is this man even saying?" There are no words there.
I feel like he's writing his own pink slip.
Nothing.
I feel like he just wrote his own resignation letter.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, here's the reasons why I shouldn't be the Panthers head coach. I will not make all the best decisions for the Carolina Panthers. I will not exhibit patience. I will not sacrifice the short term for the long. Like, I mean, it was just like,
He's a fucking moron, dude. He's a bumbling moron who's always fumbling his words. He has no idea what he's even trying to say to you. It's one thing if he knew what he was trying to say. He doesn't even know that.
And this is why I knew it was over, man. I've known as soon. And look, isn't this funny? As someone who didn't love Joe Brady like a crazy person, wasn't I always hard on Joe Brady? Like, or not hard. That's not the right word. Reserved, reluctant to endorse.
I would say you were reserved and CK was hard.
Right. I was just reluctant I just a kind of wait and see person. But as soon as he fired Joe Brady, I knew my man was just back. Like, he didn't have confidence. Like, you know who's supposed to have confidence in Joe Brady more than us? Matt Rhule is. Right. And so and then you're going to try to preach to us this idea about knowing how to build it, like this future, like this, and all you're doing is it's like if you bumped into somebody's table as a waiter and you're like, I got it, and then you went to the next table and then you were like, I got it, like, I mean, or just a bull in a china shop, like you're trying not to bash them,
and you're just you're making everything worse.
Yes,
you're making everything worse.
Knock 12 people over, ruin their dinner. I mean, what is he talking about? And like my man said, Matt, listen.
Again, Scott, obviously, he's making a lot of decisions. I am going to serve the Carolina Panthers. I am always going to make the right decisions.
I am going to serve the Carolina
Why does that sound like a proposal? Like,
it sounds like he should get, he's going to get in trouble in that Jerry Richardson case for that shit.
Hey, I have I have a question for everyone here on the panel and everyone in the chat. Who is a bigger liar, Matt Rhule in that clip, or this guy in this one?
And we're doing this in Carolina. The first thing I care about is winning. The second thing I care about is winning. And the third thing I care about is you guys are smart. So that's on and off the field. That includes the charity aspect, community aspect, and how you make me better.
Who
This is a chicken and egg situation right here, to be honest.
I tweeted this, Cody. I tweeted this during the Matt Rhule press conference, right when he said all that shit. Like, he was like, I know we got a bit fixed our offensive line. I was like this. I was like, oh my God, this is the worst one of the year. This is the worst press conference of the year for me. Like, it was so hard to watch. It was so hard to get through. I tweeted this out. You can go check my timeline. I'm waiting for David Tepper to bust through the wall like the Kool-Aid man. Be like, I can't take it anymore. This press conference is so bad. He is losing this press conference.
It's a shit show, man.
It's
a shit show. There's never been a worse time, I think, to be a Panther fan. This is when you're going to know if you're a diehard Panthers fan or not. You know, Jay Anderson was talking about not wearing gear anymore. Tony, I'm telling you, I'm not even saying this to shit on us. When you're a football team that doesn't have that entrenched history, that long fan base like some of these other teams do, and you just go back to back to back to back losing seasons, you're going to build an apathetic fan base.
It's hard to come. It's hard. You'll see it. How about that? You will see it. Is that if you keep losing, you'll see a diminishing interest. My college team, ECU, is kind of like a team that's very similar, I would say, to the Panthers. It's like not the storied legacy, but a good kind of underdog story half the time. Like, as a good show out, pretty good culture. Had a lot of NFL players we brought out. But I tell you, we went 6 years without a bowl, like a winning bowl game, win season. And that place used to be packed out 40,000 people. And you'd be like, God, I don't know, like 8,000 people here now. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't, it's hard for, like, you have to have a special culture to survive that. Like, you have to have the Browns culture where not only do you have generational fans, but also, like, being a Browns fan is like a badge of honor.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you're like, but like we're somewhere in this middle zone where it's just like shitty shit and no one wants to be like, oh, I like this shitty shit team. We're not the lovable loser.
No.
You know, it's not like you're a Cubs fan for a long time. I'm wearing a Pirates hat right now. People are going to be mad, but I wear baseball hats based on colors. And I like different stuff. Anyway, next call. I think if I press play.
What's up, guys? It's Matt here. Just want to talk about what Scott addressed in terms of the offensive line and defensive line.
We heard this one, right?
We heard this one. Yeah.
What's going on, C3 Nation? This your boy James hitting y'all up. I see this, man.
Too, right?
All right.
Hey, I realized I didn't finish my thought on that Bills game.
Yep.
The call that Clete Blakeman's crew made against the Panthers, and Tony, you said if Matt Rhule wanted to show this team that he's got their back, he should have done whatever he had to do, get ejected, throw a fit, get in the ref's face, because that was absolute horseshit. Another point I wanted to make, the 2020 draft, I know Cody said we're the first team in history to do an all-defensive draft, and there's a reason why you don't do that. We took Yetur Gross-Matos with the 38th pick, and Jonathan Taylor was the 41st pick. Can you imagine our offense with Jonathan Taylor and Christian McCaffrey as our smash and dash running backs? And then the last point I want to make is that if you watch the Raiders and the Chargers the other night, Justin Herbert was balling. I mean, just gunslinging. He's, in my opinion, without a doubt, the best young quarterback in the league right now.
I think he's my favorite quarterback in the NFL.
I think he's better than Patrick Mahomes.
It's
If I had the number 1 pick in the draft and I'm picking for the Panthers and we have the number 1 pick of any player in the NFL, I'm taking Justin Herbert.
Yeah, I mean, I could listen to that argument. I mean, it's a bold statement to say better than Patrick Mahomes, but
I think he is.
But I'll listen to somebody make that argument because it may make sense.
I mean,
he's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
it's hard to say better too. I'm just talking about from a GM perspective when you're checking boxes on all the things that you want from a franchise quarterback. And yes, of course, Patrick Mahomes is all of those things and then some. I'm just saying the sheer size, the arm talent. He's 6'6" and he can run. Dude, that guy's crazy, man. He's my favorite quarterback to watch.
The only reason I say that he's better than Mahomes is because Mahomes was given the keys to a fucking Rolls Royce, right? And Herbert
Ferrari.
didn't. Yeah, Ferrari, right? I mean, he got like the best of the best fucking teams you could ask for. And when he doesn't have that, look what happened this year. He took a huge step back as a quarterback. The rest of the team had to pick him up. Like, it wasn't Patrick Mahomes is not a world beater this year as a quarterback. And there's a reason why that he's had the past 2 years where his offensive line hasn't been incredible. Herbert is absolutely better because Herbert has had to deal with more adversity. This year they had a brand new head coach this year too, didn't they?
Yeah, brand new head coach.
The whole new system he has to worry about dealing with. I mean, Herbert is, and he's remained consistent throughout that. That's my.
By the way, that's all he did at Oregon too. At Oregon in 4 years, he had 3 head coaches and 3 offensive coordinators. So he's used to the turnaround too. Boy, wouldn't you love to have that as a Panther, considering how much turnaround we've been going through, dude?
It's just this. There's 2 categories of teams in the NFL. There is a team that has their quarterback, and there's a team that's looking for their quarterback. You know, yeah. I mean, there's a, and you might not, they might not be the best quarterback in the league, but you got them, right? You know what I'm saying? You have what you believe is your answer, and so then now it's not. We're no longer trying to fix that part, but until you fix that part, you're always fixing that part. You know, so I mean, it's like this is like. I mean, and that's why I said for so long that people were so shitting on Cam for a long time. And this is before the downfall, right? This is way before like anybody was thinking Cam's career was over. I'm talking about where people were saying, is he as good as we say he is type people. And I'm just saying, and they were like, man, you could have this, a life without a quarterback is you're like the Jews wandering through the desert.
Dude, you're in quarterback hell, man. And when you don't have a guy under center, you don't feel like, or at least me, I'm talking for myself here, I don't feel like it's a team. If you don't have a franchise quarterback, your team isn't viable. Because when it gets to the playoffs and you're playing the best teams and they have their ball, the ball in their hand in the fourth quarter, yeah, I trust those teams. I trust those quarterbacks.
By the way, we got in today's NFL, right?
Yeah.
Is that maybe 30 years ago in the 70s, 80s, or 90s when you threw the ball you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's a different, like everything has gotten better. Just like the video games have gotten in higher quality, the professional athletes, they ain't smoking cigarettes. And you know what I'm saying? And stuff like, I mean, the athlete of today, the game has become even more competitive, right? Like they're the highest athletes, they're the high, you know what I mean? Like it's like we are growing. Yeah, like we are evolving in a positive place. So the quarterback has just become more important. Maybe in the past you could, but you're right, is that and let's not, and I'm a Georgia fan. I mean, like, I'm an ECU Pirates fan first. That's why anyway, and I know it's a Pittsburgh, but my wife family's all Georgia. So we were all hyped to watch the Georgia game last night. They unseat Alabama. First time Georgia wins since 1981. I don't really want to hear no arguments either that Stetson Bennett, though, showed us you can win if you got a top defense, right? Is that at the end of the day, in the NFL, everybody's the top of the top. You got to have a top quarterback. You just got to have, you know what? You got to have a top defense and a top quarterback.
Yeah,
But you know, is
really
that like,
do.
look, is that what's the difference between the Green Bay Packers and the Denver Broncos? Aaron Rodgers. What's the difference between the San Diego Chargers and the Minnesota Vikings or the Carolina Panthers? Or what's the difference between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Pittsburgh Steelers right now or something? You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, is that they know that what they don't have to address anymore. I just don't want to wander. Wandering through the land without a quarterback, hoping for manna from heaven, is a tough life to live. And look at all the teams that have been in perpetual losing situation. Name me a perpetual loser that's had a great quarterback for a significant amount of time.
The Chargers before they got rid of Phillip Rivers.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, before they got yeah. Oh, so you're saying Phillip Rivers was the okay quarterback?
No, they had a great quarterback, and they were just could never win anything.
Well, but also like
perpetual losers with a great quarterback. They had
so, I mean,
yeah.
But also, like, even depending on the quarterback. So, for example, if Kirk Cousins is my quarterback, I don't trust him in the playoffs either. And that's not saying that he's a bad player, but like, dude, I'm spoiled, man. I want a franchise quarterback. Someone that's mobile, that can extend the pocket, that can throw on the run, that knows when to sit in the pocket, step up, go through their progressions, know when to push the ball, know when to check the ball down. And yeah, man, I want that arm talent too, man. That's something that the Panthers, for years now, we just don't push the ball downfield. I felt like we have not had a truly aggressive downfield passing attack since 2015. Yeah. I mean, really, it's been that long. Maybe 2016 too, because we still had some of those pieces left over. But the Panthers, and in an NFL where all teams are essentially passing the ball more and more, dude, we seem like a team from yesteryear. And then you hear Matt Rhule continuing to double down that we want our identity to be a run-first football team. And that's not a problem in and of itself. We all agree that you have to be able to run the football effectively, especially late in the season during the playoffs. But to me, it just says that, hey, we're going to run the football because we don't know how to do anything else, even if we tried to. I mean, how many regimes are we going to go through of them trying to find the right combination to get us an effective, potent passing attack? That's why they brought Joe Brady in. And I still maintain that we didn't see the best of Joe Brady's play calling.
What that tells me is you have overvalued your quarterback position and you don't trust them, right? I mean, if you're telling me you want to be a run-first team, I mean, yes, you want to have a quarterback that can, do the right things when it's necessary, but that also means you don't trust your quarterback to be the guy who takes you there, right?
Yeah.
Tom Brady had like 9 300-plus passing yard games this year. Only second to him, which I don't know what Herbert did in his final game, but I guess they both would have crested 300. So he was the person behind him was Herbert, who had 8.
Dude,
I want to say this is that they had 8 or 9 this year. I bet you we haven't had 8 or 9 in the last 8 or 9 years.
Dude, how about Joe Burrow this year? Threw for one of those games that they were in. Joe Burrow threw for the 4th most amount of passing yards by a quarterback in a game ever.
Yeah,
it was like
likewise.
Yeah, it was like 571 yards or something crazy. No,
I think that was the Kansas City game, or was it the game before the Kansas?
The game after, the game after that was the Kansas City game.
Okay.
By the way, now
that was the Ravens.
That might be the team to cheer for going forward.
I'm telling you, man, that's an exciting team. That's a team that might be looking to trade up seriously because they're so young. Like they're going to be a team to be reckoned with for the next year.
They need offensive line though.
Badly.
They need that. If they can get, they're doing some incredible things with a bottom half of the league offensive line.
They're like 27th or 28th. It's worse than bottom half. It's like almost damn near the very bottom.
Yeah, and so
All right.
they're doing a fantastic job. Joe Burrow is doing an incredible job getting the ball out to Jamar Chase and just spreading the ball out. But yeah, that is a formula for what you would want to do with the team. Get some pieces, but outside of the fixing the you got to get that offensive line fixed.
Next call.
It's Matty Matt again, part 2. And to be quite frank, Matt Rhule is not the guy to lead us into battle like that. He's not. He does not hold himself accountable. He throws everybody else under the bus and then runs with his head looking down, making sure nobody can see what he's doing. And he's just the most shady. He's a snake. He's a snake of a coach. Like I have been watching this team since the Loam and John Cox era. Like I get it. Like I've seen a lot of bad seasons, but this takes the cake. Because it's not that we're doing just so piss poor. It's just the amount of integrity Matt Rhule does not show. Throwing everybody under the bus, showing favoritism. It's something that a coach does not do.
Yes.
And honestly, who knows? Like this next season might be a worse season. I do believe that the foot is definitely going to be pressed down onto the neck a little bit more. I do believe that leash is going to get shorter and shorter, but I think Matt Rhule is still going to be Matt Rhule at the end of the day and just dodge bullets.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually it's going to catch up to him, and he might be gone next year. But that's just my take. I also see us trading down with the first pick. If Scott Fitterer is right about building that trench, I looked it up and I saw there's a really high chance that we might move down slightly. But guys like Charles Cross, Evan Neal, Winterbaum, they're estimated to be gone around like pick 12, pick 15. It used to be pick 20, but I hope that we don't trade down too far. I mean, we can get a second round pick or something, if we trade down to like 10 or 11. But we just got to be careful and, play it smart. Play it smart. Don't be making dumb moves. Actively get people looking into free agency, maybe fill those holes temporarily, and then we might put ourselves in a good direction. Anyway, keep pounding.
Let's just keep plowing through with the calls if you guys are good with that.
Yep.
Hey, fellas. Daniel here again. Oh, man. I sometimes don't even know what to say, man, but, it's like, I really want to like this guy, man. I really wish I could get on this so-called process, but man, I don't even understand what process that is. What is the philosophy in all this? It's like they're basically guessing and hoping it pans out. I mean, they did it with Bridgewater and they did it with Darnold, and none of that worked, and the fans began getting irritated, so they bring in Cam to try to please the fans, to keep the fans at bay, but that backfired real fast as well. It's just really embarrassing, and being called a high school football team, man. I mean, come on. I understand the whole line doesn't help at all, but Sam's bad decisions with football says a lot about him. It's all crazy. I'm honestly like little Noah in my feelings right now when it comes to this team. I'm so confused, man. Irritated, disappointed, you name it. It's just crazy. I mean, the whole Brady Christensen deal, Deontay Brown, it's just, man, it's like they don't know what they're doing, man. It's like, like I said, gentlemen, it's like they're guessing, and it's just, it's sad. It really is, but I don't know, man. Whatever happens, I just hope we can show something next season, as bleak as that may seem right now. I really do. We need it. But as always, gentlemen, great job, and keep pounding.
Thank you very much
you,
for
man.
the support, man. We appreciate you guys' support in the chat room. Smash the thumbs up button, subscribe on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify. You can find ways to support the podcast monetarily in the show notes. And let's keep going with a couple more calls.
What's up, T3? Hope y'all having a
Noah.
good day today. I'm
Appreciate you, bro.
on the Carolina Panthers staff. So I think somebody can point out Matt Rhule BS, because this is getting out of hand. I mean, they should let this man go and let this man go today. I mean, like coaches that was off the off the went on the market today. It was a lot of them. I think I saw like 3 of them. But I think it's finally time for us. We let go of Matt Rhule and we get like a new coach or something that can help us in this drought. But this, I don't know. This man needs to go. I'm surprised that he make it through today, but keep pounding and just hopefully we get rid of him pretty soon. Keep pounding.
Keep pounding, Noah. Thank you for the call, young man. Yeah, I mean, listen, once again, dude, Noah's batting 1,000, man. Noah has never had a bad
never
cat
let us
call.
down on the call. Never.
Do y'all think that maybe he's just trying to embarrass Rhule and he's waiting to do it like on a Wednesday or a Thursday, like when it's going to be the big headline?
I thought you were talking about Noah. I was like, no.
You know, it would be funny seeing as how he fired Joe Brady that way.
Yeah,
like he waited until the weekend.
Yeah,
we had to think it over. Yeah, we had to. Yeah, we wanted to eat. We wanted to eat dinner with our family.
Tepper trying to embarrass Rhule. Okay. Look, yeah, you're right. Noah is batting 1,000 on the cat calls. I think he's got a great career of sports journalism in his future.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sports journalism.
Hey,
man.
Do whatever you want, Noah. You got it, man. You got the it factor, bro.
Yep.
You're like you know what I'm saying? You can't, when we talk about it with players and stuff like that, there's just something, man. When the calls, they just sing. They sing to the listeners. We appreciate it, bro.
Yeah, we might be watching this man playing the league one day, man.
He's gonna be on this show one day. Like that's what my goal one day. As soon as he's of age, right? Like it's like you got a seat, man. You got a seat. Next call.
Come on, the free for all.
I'm from Elizabeth City, aka Carolina sports guy. You know, I keep hearing everybody saying, you know, how come we didn't fire Matt Rhule? How come we didn't fire Matt Rhule? And I agree, he does need to go. But I don't think the big question is, you know, how come we haven't fired Matt Rhule? I think the big thing coming down the pipe is Tepper, probably in Fitterer's ear, but Tepper's really looking at this thinking, I've already messed up. I pulled the trigger too late on Hurney, probably Rivera, trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, and it blew up in his face. Thought he had his guy in Rhule and give him a big contract. Looked good last year, doesn't this year. Brings Fitterer in after the fact, which he should probably brought in first. It's not to say to give up on Fitterer yet. I don't think he's justifiably done anything where we need to get rid of him. But I think he realized the Rhule's probably got to go. But you let him go today, who takes his place? I think Tepper realizes that if he just chops the head off the head coach, you got to have a plan in place, someone in place. And I don't think Tepper's got that person in mind yet.
Are there too many jobs right now open? You put that, you know, I mean, is that you need to fire quickly and get in early in these searches? But there are these I don't think it's an abnormal amount of coaches getting fired, but it is. Right. There's more than just 2, right? So I mean, are you entering a tough market? Is that maybe some of the reluctance there as you're looking
from
around
David
and
Tepper? Maybe so.
Like it kind of sucks, but like I mean, at the end of the day, we're all interviewing the same 6 candidates, and then am I gonna get the best one this year?
Well, I mean, going back to the original slide, I mean, you look at all these different places. Some of them have better young quarterbacks there. Some of them might have more money to spend. A lot of these jobs are, you know, marquee from a name value. You know, these franchises have a lot.
Or there's
going
just
for
so
them.
many jobs too. You know what I'm saying? Even if they're not even a better job, it's just there's so many, and then that it's like so much is like a kind of pressure on all those OCs that are out there. All you know, what I mean, it's just I don't know, but maybe it's like this every year though. So maybe you can't really be like, oh, you know what I mean? Is that there are probably 6 coaches that got replaced last year?
We should just do
Maybe
a player
maybe
coach.
that actually sounds a little high. Actually,
Look it up. We should just do
oh
a
yeah,
player
somebody
coach.
look it up. That would be awesome. Let me finish Chuck's cat call real quick.
Yeah.
So I really think Tepper's probably had consultants and advisors and Fitterer out there, and the right person between talking to other NFL execs, between looking around the coaching ranks, sniffing around, smelling, to see who would be a good fit, whether it be a big name rock star like Harbaugh, or whether it be somebody who's a no-name coordinator that could be the right hire. And I just don't think Tepper wants to make that same mistake of just firing the fire, and then you don't have the right one in place. I think he's trying to buy time till the right one comes. And if Rhule by then hasn't turned it around, then it's time for him to go, and he can bring his guy in. And I think that's the main thing.
About Joey's
he wants to have his man in place before he lets Rhule go. Not fire Rhule and then look and get desperate and hire the wrong one.
This is where, go back to the last one. This is where, you got to love the voice text.
What kind
Cody,
of
this is something that you would, you know what I'm saying? You live this life. You know this life right here. But it says, what kind of coat did the cartel deliver to Chris Greer that made him Brian Flores? Which we know exactly what you were saying.
Coke,
right?
Yeah.
Is that what kind of Coke did they deliver? But still, is like it's actually funnier the way it was translated.
Yeah.
Man, great jacket, bro. Great jacket,
Joey. And look, I love you, brother. From one cripple to another, I'm only asking. I am always so curious as to how you're reading people's comments. You gotta let me know, man. I've been wondering
this last week.
forever.
He talked about, somebody asked him this last week. He said all Apple devices have straight on transcription.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Like
Cool.
everything.
Hey, I also have some. It's not breaking news, but it kind of is. So let me throw this up on screen. It is being reported.
Go ahead. We need CK.
The Panthers plan to talk with Vikings offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak for their opening offensive coordinator job. Per source, Kubiak has been with Minnesota for the last 3 seasons.
Fixed. Panthers are fixed, bro. Like, dude, I'm telling you, you add Clint Kubiak to this staff, and we're to the moon, baby. To the moon.
With Alice. I agree, man.
Hey,
I agree.
Tony, you were wondering about 6 coaches seeming high. It was actually 6 coaches last year. It was Doug Peterson, John Gruden, Urban Meyer, Anthony
Well, it's technically
Lynn,
7 this year.
Doug Monroe. Okay, yeah. But 6 is about normal and Adam Gase. So last year there were 6.
Okay.
So
we're on track. All right. Next call.
Hey, this is me, C-Dog, man. You got to excuse me. I'm on the way from work, catching this great show.
Thank you,
I hope I keep the fire up on the Matt Rhule, Tepper, and Phil Snow ass. We need to fire everybody and Fitterer. But I just want to call in and say, great show, guys. And I don't even want to sit here and think that Matt Rhule's going to be here next year. Because if he is, we only won 5 games this season with the easiest schedule. So the only good thing about Matt Rhule being here next year is we're not going to win any games with the schedule we're going to have next year. We're not going to win any games, so hopefully we can get Bryce Young and get a real fucking coach, But right now, man, Tepper is just dumb as fuck. I'm just tired of all this shit. It's fucking embarrassing, man. I know Tepper, how the fuck Tepper gonna keep this motherfucker and got them go to the owner meetings with not got their egg on his fucking face? Like, come on, man. Then what really got me. I don't know who posted the first 4-man rush or C3 podcast when they posted that Matt Rhule is 0-6 against coaches who got fired today. Like, what the fuck? Like, man, at this point, man, I'm done with fucking Tepper, man. We need a new fucking owner. But that's enough of me ranting. Y'all gotta keep up the great work. And man, make sure anybody who in here, man, make sure you hit the fucking like button, man. Make sure you got them subscribe, man. It's the shit free, man. Don't cost you nothing, man. Goddamn.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody have a goddamn great night. This T-Dog, man. Good night.
Man, thank
T
you so
Dog,
much.
appreciate
for
you, brother.
Dog. Legend.
Thank you
Dog's
for
the
your
man.
support. The number is 252-228-5098. Like my man said, it doesn't cost you nothing but a little finger poking effort to turn your phone to the damn vertical.
Yep.
Push the little arrow down to get the chat out of the way for a second. You just hit thumbs up button. That's how I do it on my phone. You do that. Subscribe. You'd be cool like this. You could be cool. You can call in at 252-228-5098. You can be a part of that chat in YouTube, Facebook. People are contributing, man. The chat is always lit up in here. You guys make this show. In fact, in half the time, we don't have to prepare at all. We just wait for y'all to guide the conversation. You can subscribe, and all you got to do is this. Man, you know that other thing you can do that's real cool is it looks like a little arrow. It's like a little hook arrow. I mean, share. You share and be like, I'm on Facebook, man. Look, check this homies out. You like the Panthers? You don't like the Panthers? Check this out. You Twitter. You don't like the Panthers? You like the Panthers? Check us out.
Yep.
You know how
That's
you know
easy.
we're doing something right, man? Fans from other teams still come back to hang out with us, man.
Yep.
We get Falcons fans in here. We get Bears fans in here. There was a Packers fan in here earlier. We didn't even play them this year, did we? We're doing something right, man. Be a part of this C3 family.
Next call.
Hey, this is Kevin again from Charleston.
What's up,
AKA the COVID daddy.
The COVID.
I just wanted to say something like, when they say,
Kevin, the COVID
you need
daddy.
to find a rock star OC, former head coach. That tells me that they're suited, they're ready, they're gunning to fire you, and they just want somebody in between to help, sweeten that curve until the next season. So, for everyone who wants Matt Rhule fired, it will happen next season, unless we get a winning record and into the playoffs.
We
I
need to
don't
be
know who we're going to
shopping
get at
for our
quarterback.
next head
I
coach
have
via
a feeling we
interim
might
coach.
draft someone in the second round named Willicks, I believe his name, from Liberty.
Oh, Malik
I think
Willis.
we're going to trade back until we, because that Fitterer guy likes to trade. And I think we might pick him up, actually. But, just if you live through the Jimmy Clausen era, if you live through the Matt Moore era, if you live through the Vinny fucking Testaverde era, it's going to turn around. It is 100% going to turn around. And if it doesn't, fuck it. We got the soccer team. Yay!
I heard Steve Smith call into the radio show today for WFNZ. Maybe it was yesterday. I can't remember what day I was listening to. But he said, I got PSLs for the soccer team. Like, damn. I mean, and does your personal seat license count for things that are outside of football?
Dude, you damn well should, don't you
Or do
think?
you buy a different personal
You
seat
buy a
license?
different one. Yeah, you buy a different
Dude,
one
that's
for that.
such
My
a
man said
rip-off.
he would
That
rather
is,
watch
yeah.
soccer than the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, I
That's
think
the
I
biggest
blame him.
insult I ever heard in my life.
Especially
This is
from a-
probably the worst. I mean, listen,
Well,
again, everybody knows I came in 2011. That's when my Panther fandom started. But and we've talked about this a number of times on the show before. But like in my time being a Panther fan, this is the most depressing time. Like there is seemingly no hope to be seen. We have a head coach that no one believes in. All the head coaches that were fired, our coach lost to him or lost to them in embarrassing fashion. You look at not having a franchise quarterback on the roster. We do not trust David Tepper. I mean, dude, this is a rough time to be a Panther fan, man. I think it's probably the.
I mean, you're not wrong, bro. You're not wrong. It is the worst time. It's the worst. I mean, and not the worst time. Like, first, it's the best time because we get to hang out. We get to talk, man. The internet is awesome now. Like, I mean, it was so much harder to do stuff like this 10 years ago. things like that. And so it's the best time to be a Panthers fan because you get to chill with us, and not that we're that cool, but like, man, it's awesome to be a fan now. You're so immersed into the shit.
It's
But-
it's great to be a Panthers fan in this era because it's so hard. 10 years ago, before internet was
withstanding
so
this
fluid,
beating by yourself.
Yeah. I mean, you weren't at the. I mean, you basically got all your news from the national sporting side. And like they rarely talk about the Panthers unless. So I mean, yeah, this is it's never a better time to be a fan of a team that's especially if you're out of market from the team that you love. So yeah, this is.
But you're 100% right, Cody. Is that, or I won't say 100% right. I say you're 98% right. There are people that will argue that the 01, whatever we went 1-15, I think it's 01, and then we get Pep.
01.
Yeah, 01, and there's like a legitimate argument. Like, I mean, you can't just scoff at their argument that those years were at the bottom,
but even
right?
still,
I mean, you can't
at least
scoff,
you could.
but I do agree with you is that the future prospects at this point, like we don't have one thing, even change to hang our hat on. At least after 2010, you could say we're done with John Fox. We're done with this. It's a new era. Like it's new. You don't know what it's going to be, but at least it's different. This one, it looks like we haven't touched the bottom yet.
Hey, you want to hear something super depressing?
We don't want to, but sure.
We haven't had a winning season in 5 years. That's half a decade.
You want to know why I think that people feel worse now about it than they have before? Because right, that sucks. 5 years since 2003, we haven't had more than 3 years where we had a good season. Like we've had 12-4, and then we had a 4-year span then where we had a bad season, where we had won 8 games with our most wins, but we had Cam Newton in his rookie year that year, so it was his first 2 years. So we at least had hope. Since then, we've had a good season at least every 2 years. But in the last 5, we haven't. So that's why it feels like we are just in the worst time ever. It's the longest bad season streak we've had in almost the entire franchise.
We're circling the drain, and we don't know if the toilet has been fully flushed yet. It's time to get the top of the toilet bowl filling up.
It's technically 4
We need to
seasons,
hear the
but
water
5 years.
running in the upper bowl. Next
How
goal.
old?
Yo, it's Kevin back from the third call. Got a question to ask y'all.
COVID dad.
And I want y'all really 100%, what y'all thoughts.
Yep.
Should have we re-signed Taylor Moton? Because to me right now, he's looking like a, person who has a lemon car with one gigantic spinner rim while the rest of the rims are rusted and completely fucked. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen it all the time. It's like one guy has one spinner and the rest is like janky fucking shit. Should we have resigned Taylor Moton? Should we have saved that money? Because Taylor Moton's look good, but like, we could have drafted Rashawn Slater and we could have drafted Brady Christensen. One could have been the left, one could have been the right. We would have our left tackle and left tackle for the future. But,
On cheaper contracts, too.
I want to hear your thoughts. Peace.
Go ahead, TK.
I want to say this is a what if situation that it's hard for me to get behind. I mean, in that moment, we could have thought, there's these other people that might come in. We didn't know we were going to be getting Brady Christensen, and Taylor Moton was by far one of the best and the most consistent players on our offensive line in the past 5 years, even. And to let him walk would have been one of those things where the entire fan base would have just thrown an entire fucking riot. Right?
Can you imagine how bad our offensive line would have been? I mean, it was already terrible. But then if you take away Taylor Moton, dude,
we can do that.
So bad for him.
We can rewrite history, but I think if we do that, we have to we can go back and since we had a winning season, I think that it would be a fun exercise for us to go back and look at the draft and look at our draft picks and who was actually on the board that is actually a really good player now in the NFL and then play that game. But I mean, as far as should we not have signed him in reality, I think there was no other choice. Like we needed to have him on this team.
Yeah. And when it comes to Taylor Moton too, and I'll say this just about offensive line in general. It is so dependent. I mean, really, you shouldn't even think of the offensive line as like, 5 different positions. You should think of it as like one giant position. They all have to work together in tandem with one another. And yeah, they have to win their one-on-one matchups, but it really is about the guy next to you. And I mean, Taylor Moton has had how many right guards line up to the left of him this year? I mean, dude, John Miller, Trent Scott, Daly. It's embarrassing.
Can I ask you another?
Yeah.
Let's. How many games did Moton miss this year?
Ooh,
how many? None. I don't think. None.
I don't recall him missing any.
I don't recall him missing any either.
And how many did all the other people on the offensive line miss? Like from injury, even. Matt Paradis.
A lot. Matt Paradis, F-line,
Cam Irving.
all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Taylor Moton was the one stalwart. Yeah, that was the reason why you paid that man.
And quite honestly, with how bad our offensive line was, it almost seems like it couldn't have gotten worse. But had you not signed Moton, that may have been the only thing that could have made this line actually worse than it was.
All right, next goal.
Fourth time a charm. It's Kevin from Charleston. Yo, Cody, I know you said that maybe David Tepper is the next Jerry Jones, but Jerry Jones won 3 Super Bowls. So my question to Cody is David
Before
Tepper
a salary cap?
And he inherited
Washington football team's owner? I can't fucking remember his name. Dan Snyder.
Dan Snyder.
Is he the next Dan Snyder? Always making big free agency acquisitions, signing all these big names in free agency, but never producing anything in the season. So that's my question to Cody. Is David Tepper the next Dan Snyder, not the next Jerry Jones? Peace.
So Dan Snyder is known for like a lot of scummy shit, even outside of football. Like when you kind of dig in onto him a little bit, obviously there's stuff with the cheerleaders, flying cheerleaders across the world, having them do naked photo shoots.
Bro, we can't talk shit. Our old owner was like all up in the rubbing feet.
But he's saying like, is David Tepper that kind of owner? And frankly, I don't know. The reason I say Jerry Jones is the comparison that I make, because when you have $1 billion and you can just buy a football team, well, now a professional football team is your fucking toy. I mean, you can do whatever you want with it, and whatever you say goes. If David Tepper comes in and says, "No, you know what? We're going to draft that player." I mean, technically, he could do that. And we saw from the Panthers Confidentials, he is someone that, even though he has admittedly said before, he wanted to take time to learn more about football. That's why he was so late to fire Ron Rivera. Even in spite of all of that, you still see him very involved in all the Panthers' decision making. Mm-hmm. So that's what makes me say, like, does he even have a football opinion that anyone should be listening to? That's what worries me.
What I was intrigued by is that someone said, imagine David Tepper going up into the owners' meeting this year and them all laughing at him for paying Matt Rhule all that money. So someone put this tweet up, and I was like, you know what? I vaguely remember murmurs of people talking about how the owners were pissed at Tepper for paying Rhule all that money.
Yeah.
Like kind of resetting the market.
Yeah.
Unnecessarily to a certain degree. You know what I'm saying? Like, you came out there and you paid a guy that ain't coached at all $8 million. So now we got to raise Bill Belichick's salary up by 7 to, and imagine that. I wonder is David Tepper new money? You guys ever heard of like that stuff that? Yeah. Is that so for instance, like back when we had aristocracies and like,
you remember Titanic? What was what's the lady with the red hair, Kathy Bates? She was in Titanic, and all the other rich people on Titanic called her new money. Yeah, because she wasn't rich very long.
I watched this, and this is gonna be before your time, Cody, is that there used to be like the guy that preceded Oprah Winfrey. His name was Phil Donahue. I think it was it was either Phil Donahue or a Oprah Winfrey episode. This was back during the 1990s when the internet was like the .com kind of stuff was going on. So there was a lot of people that were making money, like all of a sudden, like tech. All of a sudden, tech was becoming a thing, and they had these like the show was on gold diggers, like these women who only dated. I mean, they were like the most. It's like Jersey Shore of the 90s type thing, kind of something like that. I mean, it was labeled gold diggers. And so they said this is they were like, we want to set you up with this billionaire. And they're like, oh, you can see them just drooling, just the mouth watering. And they put him on the video conference and he was handsome, well-spoken. They loved it. You know what I'm saying? They were just eating it up. And then this one girl, you see it just kind of click. And she goes, wait a second. So he said, how you make your money? Basically is what she asked. How you make your money? He's like, well, I'm a CEO of a fortune, of this tech company. She's like, man, I'm good. I don't date new money. I swear to God, man. I was like, God dang. She just straight said, nah, like, unless you got some, like, I want people that their great-great-grandpa was rich too, homie. Tepper is the new money of the NFL.
Yeah. Yeah.
They mad. They mad at him. They big mad at him. They big mad.
New money got the most money.
Yeah, he does.
True.
Next call.
He also got the worst team.
Next call.
Y'all say trade DJ, but look at the receiver. I mean, the QBs he had.
Oh,
true facts. Was that the whole call?
Yeah.
Was that the whole call?
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not.
Y'all say trade DJ, but look at the receiver. I mean, the QBs he had.
I mean, that's going to be a big conversation going forward this year, and then we're certainly not done having that conversation. Yeah. DJ Moore is going to come up, and by the way, Scott Fitterer said in his press conference that he considers DJ Moore to be like a centerpiece, like one of the important building blocks on this football team. And listen, to a certain degree, I understand it. Like part of the allure of what this Panthers offense could have been is because we do have really good weapons. We know Robbie has good over-the-top speed. DJ Moore, we've had our critiques of him, but dude, he's 1,000-yard receiver every year.
We said we had the most weapons ever this year going into the season, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Look, I mean here's the thing is look at, I'm not going to say that he's at the level of Mike Evans, but Mike Evans and him have a very similar trajectory in their early years. Like Mike Evans was doing the same thing. Mike Evans and DJ Moore.
Oh,
like,
I was about to say Robbie. I was like,
no, I'm sorry. I was still talking about DJ Moore. I'm thinking that like when you look at that, I mean, Mike Evans was habitually a 1,000-yard receiver as well. And then once you start actually seeing the pieces put together where things are put around him, he isn't just the only focal point on the offense. Like he started to really pick off. And then now all of a sudden you get Tom Brady in there. Mike Evans is a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL. Right. And
Mike Evans was balling though with Jameis.
He was
big time
Jameis could throw the ball.
Jameis. And I tell you, there's one other thing though that's a difference. Is poor DJ, he might get 1,000 yards every year, but he gets 4 touchdowns every year also. He's got 4 touchdowns every season.
Yeah.
Is that how many he had this year? How many he had this year?
4 receiving touchdowns.
Damn,
he's never gotten over it. I'm gonna double check mine.
Dude, I tell you, man.
One argument for trading
that's
DJ Moore, and it's strictly business. It's strictly business because that's the kind of guy that I would love to have him on my team. But because he's so good and we suck so bad, I may need to use him to better the team in the future. But the only reason I would get me personally, I get rid of him because I like the guy. I would love to keep him long term, but if he's going to help me have a better future,
what's a better future though? Like, what's a better future? Is it a first round pick?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, if you could get a first round pick for DJ Moore right now, would you take it?
Yes.
Probably.
Hell
so.
yeah.
I would.
Yeah.
I mean, he's on the back end of his
yeah.
contract. I
I
mean,
would too.
Yeah,
we're gonna
because
have
we
more.
don't got the money, man. It's not us trying to shit on DJ Moore.
That's what I'm saying.
And,
It's
and
strictly
receivers
business.
are
It's
service.
strictly business. Yeah.
and
Thanks for
receivers
your
are
service.
replaceable too. You can get them around just about any round in the draft.
If he was doing something that was over the top special, like what DeAndre Hopkins was doing in Houston,
Debo,
like
something like that.
something like that, yes, then keep him. But I mean, I don't. As much as
You ain't
I
getting a
argue
first for
for
DJ.
DJ, like as much as I argue for him to stay on the team, if you were to get a first for him, yeah, you got it. You got.
He would be
up.
awesome in Green Bay, though, bro.
Yeah.
Put him
So
in
what if
Green
my
Bay
offense-
with Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers, and that shit
He would be
like they just dominate, bro.
he would
If
be
Green
really
Bay
good
calls
with
you
the,
and gives you a second round pick next this draft
No.
for DJ Moore, you take him?
Yes, I'll
If
take a
well, it
second.
depends. If it's early second and we can make up for the Sam Darnold trade, then yes.
It's going to be
Well-
25 to 32. Green Bay.
well, if the Packers are in the Super, but you said second round or first round?
Second round. Oh, excuse me.
Because
it's gonna
then you're
be,
talking
60,
about like
yeah,
you're talking about
60s,
60 something. Then
I'm
you're
not.
basically talking about a
I
third
still
round pick.
take it because we're not gonna pay him, man. We're not gonna really.
That's
I mean,
not true.
like we shouldn't invest money in a player who
I can't
yes
be
is
mad
very.
at that. I can't be mad at that. I agree, Tony. Like I want DJ Moore to be here. He's a fantastic player, but they're
But we
easily
need a better
replaceable.
team. I always
Yeah.
used to say this is that we should have traded Steve Smith,
But
and not because I wanted to trade him, but because he deserved better.
you
Right?
know,
Imagine this: as Steve Smith, we just got the Hall of Fame shit that came in first. He's first ballot. I don't want to hear nothing else. I know he's trying to be humble out there, and Steve Smith is one of the biggest dicks on the planet.
but here
He
you gotta
makes
think,
it.
you got to think about it though. Like if you let this guy go, like what you're talking about is we don't have a good enough team to want to keep him. Well, if we start to fill holes, now we're creating more holes. It just like it's
Yeah,
a
but
sinking
you
ship that we're not
can't-
going to be able to patch.
But
You
a
can
wide receiver is
find
much
a-
easier to replace
Yeah,
than
you
a
can-
stalwart
right.
left tackle.
And there's
All right,
more
hold on.
of them in free
With that-
agency, the draft. There's just more of them.
Let's talk about that then. When was before DJ Moore? When did we have a wide receiver we thought was a true number one wide receiver on this team?
I'm
Before
not even
DJ
ready
Moore?
to say that
No.
DJ Moore is like I look
Hold
at
on.
him like that either. Like you know
Well,
what I'm saying? Like I don't
also-
look at
Devin
him like
Funchess?
a Julio.
Well, also,
Devin,
don't
don't
you,
look at
don't
him
you
like
think
no
that having a
Julio,
better
though.
line and having the quarterback having more time to throw could have made any receiver we've had a better wide receiver?
Yeah,
had-
100%.
Don't you think they're a victim of the offensive line as well?
Dude,
Well, I mean,
I mean-
listen, there are certain people that like you look at Aaron Rodgers, he can make Alan Lazard look good, right? That is reality. But guess what?
Kevin's
Aaron
right,
Rodgers.
Steve Smith.
Guess what? Aaron Rodgers can't do. Aaron Rodgers can't make Aaron Lazard or Alan Lazard look like Devontae Adams. And Devontae Adams is impossible to guard. You look at DeAndre Hopkins. You look at Julio Jones.
DJ doesn't look like Devontae.
DJ
But-
Moore and
but what I'm-
Devontae Adams
hold on.
ain't like DJ Moore can't hold Devontae Adams' jockstrap, bro.
He's good, but he's not that good.
Yeah,
But again,
No,
again,
that's like a different level. That's
even-
like, I mean, I'll give a
even
good
so-
pass rush or something, but call him Julius Peppers is a tough. You better be good. As
When
fuck.
how many times have we seen a ball thrown to DJ Moore that was actually in stride that gave him an opportunity to not like every ball that he's caught over the past 3 years has been him having to jump up in the air and take a ridiculous hit or have to come back to the ball because it's thrown short or have to play through a
I've
pass
also seen him
interference.
drop passes and fumble, and I've seen that too.
Agreed.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. What if? But I still think that even if he had maybe half those balls thrown better, he's still not putting up DeAndre Hopkins, Devontae Adams numbers.
He's
My
not right now,
thing-
but my
It's
point
the
is
precision of his route running. If you look at those guys that you're mentioning, Hopkins, my favorite, Stephon Diggs, like those guys are surgical with how they run their routes.
Right.
And I don't see a lot of that I think he's
he
strong,
doesn't have the
he's
physical
fast,
traits,
he's
bro.
aggressive,
If
but
he's
he's
that
not.
good, you're getting a first round for him. And if you don't think
You
you're gonna
are.
get a first round
He
for him,
is
then he's not
always
that
a
good.
guy that is going to play above his size, right? You know what I'm saying? Like he plays. Like I mean, and look, I'm trying to give him credit, but at the same day, it's a lot easier to replace DJ Moore than it is one of the Bosas.
Oh yeah.
Just
I mean,
is. You know what I'm saying?
Justin
Like, man, at the
Jefferson.
end of the day, is you can find a guy that can do. Look, Cooper Kupp just got the damn Triple Crown.
Yeah.
And do we really think that he is the best wide receiver in the NFL? Maybe you
Well,
do.
he's a slot receiver. They mainly line him up in the slot and kind of motion him around. But I mean, he is, the Triple Crown receiver this
He'd
year.
be
So
Christian McCaffrey or Christian McCaffrey would line up like that.
And I'm not trying to. I look. I'm not trying to diss on DJ. But if you're not going to pay him, you might as well. You could get some for him.
And
that's the theory.
I'm
If you're
gonna
not
say
going to pay him anyway,
he's the
it
best wide
doesn't
receiver
matter.
we've had since Steve Smith left.
Sure.
That's
right.
Yeah, I agree
Right?
with that.
We haven't had a wide receiver that we could say that about. And when did Steve Smith leave? It has been 10 fucking years.
Man, Benjamin had 1 year. I hated that mug, but he had one good year.
That
by
was
the
it.
way, I
Benjamin's
said this
rookie
too.
season was better than Julio Jones.
I'm highlighting
I'd
this
say it.
comment from Shelly Long. Dude, I've always said this about DJ. After every play,
Not true.
he rolls on the ground like a cat for 15 minutes before he pops right back up and just runs off like nothing ever happened to him, dude.
What?
It's the
Y'all are
funniest
so
thing
mean.
in the
Y'all are
world.
so mean. Is look, I have seen DJ avoid some hits before. I've seen him go out of bounds early. I've seen him slide one time, and you go, bro, you ain't a quarterback. They still get to hit you. I did see him slide once. I was like, or went down. It was like he gave himself up. I was like, they're still gonna hit you, homie. But at the same time, I've seen there's a reason he's scared to get hit. Is that these quarterbacks, Cam, Darnold, Bridgewater, all
Leaving
of
him out to
them.
dry.
God, I mean, he is, and he's gone up. I mean, you've seen him. I have something for the year in review about the callers calling in. They were mad about how Bridgewater almost snapped his ACL. Like, I mean, we're gonna hear some shit, but it is true. Like, you can see he is kind of like, how many hits I got to take on me for no reason? Not no reason, but look, is that right now the Panthers are in a place until you get a quarterback, until you get an offensive line, none of these positions matter.
Right.
None of them matter. You have the best receiver in the world, but if you ain't got nobody that can throw it to him, don't give a crap. Don't matter. That's why I was upset. Look, I used to think this is that, and I am upset about Steve Smith not being first ballot Hall of Fame. I think he should be, because here's the thing: is that Andre Johnson went in. He got to not in, but he got into the voting, right, where Steve Smith got excluded. They have the same exact stat line. Like, if you look at the catches, the yards, they are the same player, except for Steve Smith got the Triple Crown. Steve Smith, you know what I'm saying? Like, and really, Steve Smith's getting snubbed because we didn't win a Super Bowl.
Right.
That's really is what it is that. And so, if it don't matter, you could be the best running back, Christian McCaffrey. You can be Barry Sanders on the Lions. But if you ain't good, it don't matter. Next call.
What's up, C3? 89 J Stubbs here. Hope
Jay
you're having a great
Stubbs.
day.
Angel investor.
So,
Appreciate you,
how do
bro.
y'all feel about the draft? Me personally, I would like to trade back and still be able to get Linderbaum at center, and then maybe take a linebacker in the second if we can trade up or package some picks together. The thing is, we need so much help, and I just got a strange feeling knowing David Tepper and how desperate he is. He's going to take one of these quarterbacks at 6, and of course, we'll get excited. We're Panther fans, but at the end of the day, man, I want to fix this O-line once and for all. I don't care if we use every pick, on the O-line. It's just thinking about it, man, I really kind of fallen in love with this Linderbaum kid, and I just hope that he don't keep up the draft board, because I think he's exactly what we need in the center. Him and Deontay Brown could just do some wreck shop. I think Brady's fitting the left tackle. I really do. He got to be a franchise cornerstone. Can he be solid? Can he be, he gives up 1 sack every 2 games or 1 sack every 3 games, And, I don't know, man. Just put it out there. I feel like a center or a dominant guard, and then a linebacker in the second would be ideal for this team. And then, but unfortunately, we got to finagle our way to get these picks. I'm just not too sure. I just hope we don't take a quarterback. And I think Tampa's going to freak out and do it. All right, guys.
Cody,
yeah.
I'm reading these great comments in the chat room. Thank you all for your support, your participation. Smash the thumbs up button. It helps. But we've been talking about meeting for discussing our off-season plan, right? Doing some different things.
Mm-hmm.
Something just hit me.
Mm-hmm.
Pow. Watching these comments. Friday free-for-all. The week before the Super Bowl. We get together and look, we turn the monetization off, which it don't make any money anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like, we just take the strike and we watch the Panthers 2 Super Bowls and we've been to together.
I'm down, man. I'm
or
down.
even one of them. Maybe we do it in 2 weeks.
Well,
Like,
you can do the
this week.
Game Pass that does like the 20-minute version.
You can go back and watch the 2015 on Game Pass. You can't watch the 03 one.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you've ever seen. You haven't seen the 03 Super Bowl, have
Yeah,
you?
I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen it a bunch of times. In fact, I've seen it
It's
a bunch
big
of
plays. It's like moves with
Yeah.
the. Masin Muhammad had the longest receiving touchdown in Super Bowl history in that game. It still
Isn't
stands.
it still like the first or second highest scoring Super Bowl of all time? I think maybe it got broken.
It's
but
considered one of the best Super Bowls of all time.
Yeah, it was a
considered like
damn
top
good
10
Super
Bowl. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely
It would
down
be
for
fun.
that.
I think that's my suggestion. Yes, and I'm giving you the idea why it hits me, because I will forget. You know, I always, and then I'll forget this. But yeah, it would be. I know, folks, people are upset. There was a lot of pain, but they are good games too. That 03 game is
I don't know
like
about the 15 one, but the 03.
yeah,
for sure.
I know, but
the 2015 one is largely considered to be one of the worst ones in NFL history.
Do you think we
still
could
in
do
it,
like
dude. I
maybe-
still, you know what? I thought we had a chance all the way to the end of that game. I just
What do you think about like maybe also doing just so that way they're not all crushing defeats? Maybe throw in the NFC Championship game,
Dude, you
or
got
something
to.
like
Ooh,
that.
what about if 1 week we watch the maybe the highlights for both of them
Yeah.
for the NFC Championship that game that
both,
year,
yeah.
and then
Please
the next
play that
week.
Eagles NFC Championship game. That
Oh, that Deshaun Foster run, dude.
Play that one, please.
Like, it's like the Rocky moment of the internet.
Yeah, that was such a great game. Oh, that was such a great game.
In
Well,
fact,
if you got to
know
do
what
that,
we're
you
gonna
got to do the Rams.
Well,
Yeah.
now we just
Yeah.
gotta make a different video where we just watch like
some of the most iconic moments from the
greatest
yeah.
plays. Yeah. All right. Actually, put that down on the list. I sent a shared document. Here are my suggestions. You asked me for ideas. I brought it. That
Yeah,
would be
you did.
fun. That'd be fun. You know what?
I'm
I
down
did it
for
not
it
too
too,
long
man.
ago. I watched the 03 Super Bowl not too long ago.
I haven't
And
watched it in a while.
It was a fucking dope ass game.
You know, one that I don't want to. I still have trouble even thinking about rewatching is the 2015. I can't even like that was so painful.
Yeah,
for
I don't
me.
think I haven't rewatched that one.
Yeah,
Carter caught that damn ball.
He did. He did. Like,
I'll tell
there's
you
a
though-
lot of things. I'm gonna go back and want to kill Gano. In
Yeah.
that missing that
Super
field goal,
Bowl.
I mean, it changed the momentum. I know people act like I'm being too hard on it, but us bringing the game within 3 around halftime changes it. 10-7 or whatever it was, or you know what I'm saying, like 13, whatever. I forget what it was, but it would have brought us within 3. You know, and that changes it. It's a difference between having to score a field goal to tie it and a touchdown to tie it type
Yeah.
game. Big difference. All right.
How many calls do we have?
Wow, you want to watch the game? No,
No,
I think this
no,
might
I'm
be the
like-
last one.
I was thinking about we definitely need to go through and give our predictions, as somebody said in the chat, for the wild card weekend.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, this is the
I'm down
last
for
call, I
that.
think. This is the
Look, though,
last
real
call. We
quick,
still
if-
have, sadly, we actually have crap to talk about still.
Look, if you go back and look at the Panthers' 2 Super Bowl years and you watch just the games up to the Super Bowl, those were some amazing runs. One year is heart-throbbing games that come down to the end. This other one is us just running through everybody all the way to the Super Bowl. So those are fun games to go back and watch.
Yeah.
That is actually that was a silent call at the end. I went, man, if like let's just see this. The Sean Foster, this will ruin the probably get demonetized for this, but it's worth it, bro.
No, we had so many viewers today.
Yeah, okay, we won't then. Just Google this.
I do want to do that though, man. If I see a bunch of people in the chat room would be down for it too. I mean, and not even just the Super Bowl, but like maybe making it a point to like let's find some. How about this? Let's find some legendary Panthers games from just different points in Panther history, playoffs, just important games.
We just cracked the code, bro.
Yeah, man.
That's what we're gonna be doing now. In fact, I want to do it almost right now. Anyway, all right, that's all the calls. C3 Panthers podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. Sadly, I have to tell you, we have shit still to talk about. Can
we didn't even get to the OC.
Can you believe this? This is Matt Rhule on selecting an offensive coordinator.
With your quarterback situation, how much will the new offensive coordinator you're going to hire have to do in moving forward with what you decide to do at quarterback, regardless of what it is?
I think we're just gonna. I think anybody we hire is obviously going to have a say in personnel. You know, in terms of like how they see it. Sorry.
Yes.
At the end of the day, for me, the most important thing is finding the right offensive coordinator for what we want to do and how we want to build. And so I know people say I heard you're targeting this guy. We'll do a process. We'll do a search. We'll talk. There's lots of really, really smart people out there. So to me, we'll go find the best offensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers that can take advantage of the guys that we have here and help us, ascend on offense.
All right. So ultimately, this is Matt Rhule continues to say we're gonna get it right. I'm gonna serve the Carolina Panthers. I'm gonna do all this, and he says absolutely nothing. It's all jargon.
Yeah.
It's all this and that, and I know that jargon when you're like messaging, like you have to do shit like this sometimes. Like so, I mean, I'm not trying to be unforgiving about that, but like. What the he don't know. See, that's the thing that I'm so upset. The only reason I am upset about, I would have felt way better if Matt Rhule would have said, and he doubled down on Joe Brady, and he said, I got the right pieces. We got the right stuff forward. We just need to keep working and doing what we're doing and get better working on the personnel. We need to trust in the process. He says trust in the process, and then he doesn't trust in the process. So, I mean, like, this to me is, what does that fucking mean? It means nothing.
Yeah. He said, I've never met or heard anyone talk in my life who can say so much without saying a fucking thing at all, dude. God, it's so annoying. It's
it makes me think that he's just got other things that he wants to do. Like he's just thinking while he's in the press conference, he's like, man, I need to stop and grab this for the house. I need to do this. Like that's what I get out of his press
guaranteed, man. Like even if he was fired, him and his family are set for life, dude. So it's like,
and they were, by the way, before he left Baylor. Baylor gave him like a big 80. Like this dude's rolling, swimming in the cash. So every time I feel sorry for being such a dick about it, like I do get, like at some point I do feel bad about calling for someone's job all the time. Like it's kind of like a crappy, like I think, all right, so here's the thing is the guys that, the Fire Matt Rhule people that went on the NBA, they were standing in the background of the NBA game. They were cool, right? They're the first people that did it. They spent some money on some t-shirts. That's a cool thing. The first people that started the Fire Matt Rhule chant, they were cool. But like when you are copying that, like it feels like you're trying to make it about, and then you put it on TikTok and stuff. It makes it feel like you're trying to make it about you at that point. And I am like so at some point I do feel terrible about saying this guy sucks. Like, like I mean I don't like your face. I've said that recently. In fact, this is when I knew I don't like this dude at all. He has a more punchable face to me now than Sean
Yeah.
Payton.
Oh yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
see that stupid he smiles.
Did you ever
and
imagine that would be possible? Someone with a
Right.
more punchable face
That's
than
what I'm
Sean
saying. Yeah.
Payton?
It's crazy. And then I feel bad about it because I want to be a good human being. So I don't want to be that low in what I think of the totem pole of the human race. But then right when I feel bad about being too mean to his ass, I think about, man, let me look at my bank account and look at this motherfucker
compared to his.
account.
And dude, it's football, man. Like, dude, this is a results-oriented business, and fans are passionate. If you're not winning, you're a loser, and fans don't tolerate losers. That's just what it is, man. And then when you have diehard fans like us who follow the team and know that he wasn't playing young players, that he would throw Cam Newton under the bus, that this entire team just regressed back to its means. When you follow all those things, you feel justified in calling for his job because it's saying, dude, you have made this whole season worse for absolutely everyone. So yeah, it might be a little bit mean to call for his job, but how many people did he make miserable from September to December this year? You know what I mean? So it is what it is.
Last thing about these offensive coordinators is the name. Actually, two things. Let's talk about the names that have been associated. Matt Rhule said those names are not from him. Pip Hamilton, Charlotte native from West Charlotte, I guess I've seen people putting, or whatever West Charlotte High School is or something. Pip Hamilton.
Yeah, went to West
He's the
Charlotte,
offensive coordinator for the Houston Texans. Bill O'Brien with the chin that has a black hole in the middle of it. And I was thinking this is like, man, if this guy wins the national champions, not wins it, but like beats this best defense, we hire him as offensive coordinator. I was like, shit, man, Bill O'Brien gonna be our next head coach. Because Matt Rhule's gonna get fired, and that I didn't like that. Jay Gruden was a name that's floated out, and who's this Rams dude?
Yeah, this is Kevin O'Donnell, the offensive coordinator for the Rams. These are the names that have been reported.
I don't want any of the white dudes. I'll take this black guy right here. I swear to God, that's why. Like right now, I don't like the way any of these three look.
Well, I like Pep Hamilton for a number of different reasons. One, he's from Charlotte, so he already has a connection to this area. Number two, if you look at the quarterbacks that this man has coached, dude, he's been around Andrew Luck. He's been around Justin Herbert, pictured right there. How about this? We talked about the rookie quarterbacks a bunch this past offseason. Davis Mills had the best numbers of all the rookie quarterbacks this year, and he was playing with the Texans. Okay, so like that really leads to the.
I know the Texans are a more attractive job than the Carolina Panthers.
If you have a quarterback that you believe in going into next season, then yeah, I would absolutely want Pep Hamilton above all else. The last thing I'll say about Bill O'Brien is Bill O'Brien, I wouldn't want him anywhere near our front office and making decisions that affect the makeup of this team. But the dude really does know his X's and O's. And I've watched what he did with the Houston Texans and Deshaun Watson and DeAndre Hopkins for a while. And then you see what he's able to do at Alabama. He's done that a lot of different places. Now, I don't want him making football decisions like he was doing in Houston at the end, but the guy does have some an ability to coach players, and so for that reason, he'd be my number two. Jay Gruden comes from the Grudens. I just don't give a fuck. I don't want anything to do with that family at this point in time, and I know nothing about the O'Donnell guy, so Yeah,
right there with you.
I'm going Hamilton. If I'm having to pick between
don't
these dudes,
care.
I don't.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm to the point. I just don't care. Is that
Yep.
if that's all it takes is just a better offensive coordinator to fix this mess, then Matt Rhule is a fool.
Yep.
Like he ain't that cool. I'll tell you that.
I mean, if
Bill,
And it means that Brady
Yeah.
wasn't shit.
right.
Yeah.
all right, let's pick some playoff games.
Yes, please.
I got them right
Please,
here.
please.
Oh, you
Who
have
we
them?
got?
Yeah,
Do you have
I got them
something
right
you
here. Y'all
can
want to go
share?
through? Then
Are
let's
we?
get,
We're in the playoffs now.
No, I can pull it up. Hang on one second.
Yeah, just someone. I can pull it up too.
Okay. We'll talk about it if you're pulling it up real quick. Raiders Bengals first game.
Well, that's gonna be a good one,
and
dude.
That's Bengals -6 right now.
That's
is the
way
line.
a better game than it should be.
Yeah.
Well,
Bengals
that's a
-6.
trap bet. You bet on the Bengals because
So
the
can
Raiders.
I'm
taking the
finally
Bengals.
ready to put Derek Carr into my underrated quarterback category. I feel like Derek Carr is an underrated quarterback. I normally typically don't like the traditional pocket passers. I want you to be able to do a little bit more. But I think Derek Carr is a pretty good quarterback.
I would say underrated if he wasn't considered an MVP candidate at one point, prior to this a few years back. I mean, I would say he's underrated.
2016,
Yeah.
it was the year after we went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And then he got hurt at the very end of the year. I'm going Bengals.
Are you
I
taking
think,
the points or just straight up?
What's the spread?
Bengals -6.
Yeah, I'll take the points. I think they have a really dominant offense. How about this? They have the most impressive young offensive weapons in the NFL. Jamar
100%.
Chase, T. Higgins from Clemson is a badass. Joe Mixon is a really good running back. They have Tyler Boyd up there. I just think they have too many ways to win. The Raiders are resilient, though, man. And Hunter Renfrow, dude, he's like another Cooper Kupp type dude.
Yeah.
That guy will burn you. Love me some Hunter Renfrow, man, but I'm biased. So yeah, I'm
I'm tight
taking the
end that
Bengals
gets
and the
like
points.
280 yards a game.
Yeah, what's his name? The
Did he
Raiders
slow
guy.
down finally this
Well,
season?
I think he was hurt this year.
Waller.
Yeah, Darren Waller.
Darren Waller.
Yeah,
I'm taking
here's
the
the
Bengals
thing.
and the points too. Sorry.
I will take the Bengals, but I ain't taking the points.
I'm taking the Bengals money line, but I'll take the Raiders with the
I think the
+6.
Raiders cover.
Okay.
I think the
Okay.
Raiders. I've underestimated the Raiders all season. I think the Raiders make a game of this, and I like the Bengals.
I say
Like,
that
I
because
do. Like I'm excited about them.
yeah, I say only reason I say the Bengals aren't going to blow this out of the water is that offensive line is going to bite them in the ass in the playoffs. Like, as much as they have those weapons, like we've seen it too often with teams. We saw it with the Chiefs last year in the Super Bowl. There's going to be some. So I think they pull this one out, but I think it's a one and done.
Bengals win by
after that.
4. That's what I say.
Nah,
Bengals
it's
win
going to
by
be
4.
a Jamar Chase long touchdown in overtime to win the game by 7.
I
that'd
say
be 6 then.
Yeah, you're right. It would be 6.
Give me the +6 there. All right, next game.
All right, you got Patriots at Bills. Bills -4.
I'm taking the Bills.
I take the Bills to cover
and the
as well.
points.
Yeah, I'm taking the Bills and the points, man. I think, hey, dude, you know what matchup we got robbed of? If the Chargers would have won, it would have been the Chargers versus the Bills.
That would have been
That
incredible.
would have been a fucking crazy game. dude.
Now, I'm not trying to sleep on the Patriots. I think they could win this game.
They've
right?
taken
Is
a
that
dip.
The
Bills are a
have
better
been- are
team.
vulnerable. The Bills are vulnerable too, though. Both of these teams are vulnerable. Bill Belichick playoffs. It's like kind of going against Nick Saban. Even if you got the worst, your team isn't as good. You have a chance to win. I do think the Patriots have a chance to win. I just think the Bills have been on the precipice of being better each week. Not each week, but they could have been a better team all year, right? Like they're just a teeter-totter, and it's their time right now. So give me the Bills there.
Yeah, the Bills here as well with the points. The Bills are the experienced team. Josh Allen has won playoff games before. Mac Jones is in his first year as a rookie. And I don't care what you say, that plays a role. when it comes to getting to playoff time. That's why you don't see rookie quarterbacks winning Super Bowls very often. So I think that, and also you see what this Patriots team has done. They had a really good run there towards the middle of the season. The end of this season, they have looked like absolute dog shit. They lost to
I
the
don't know.
Miami.
They came back.
They lost.
Though.
They
They
lost
made
to
a
them.
big comeback last week after getting
Mollywopped
stomped in the early part. In the early part, they got stomped, but they came back and made it a game. I ain't
But I mean,
sleeping
it was
on a
the
team that's
Miami
got a good
Dolphins, though.
defense, and they got a
Dolphins
good
won the last 7
defense.
games. They're a good team.
And they got a good defense, and Bill Belichick is the best defensive coach in the history of NFL. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
So, like, I ain't gonna sleep on them, but I am still taking the Bills.
Hey, Joe Nellis makes a good point in our chat room. Too many Panthers on that team. I mean, it's like
they're gonna lose. Nah,
you gotta pull for our boys, man.
Next, you got Eagles at Bucks, and it's Bucks minus 8.5.
Ooh, that's too big of a spread. I think the Bucks do not cover.
I'll take the Bucks, but I don't like 8.5.
I'm gonna take the Eagles and the points too, taking them cover. But I honestly, if this was just straight up, I would take the Eagles. I'm predicting an upset in this game. I'm telling you, I'm predicting an upset in this game.
If Minshew Magic beats Tom Brady, can we marry him, please, Cody?
It's not Minshew, right? Isn't Jalen Hurts coming back?
Well, that's
the Bucks are not as impressive as
I'm asking you
people make it out to
this.
be.
For some reason, it becomes Minshew Magic time, and we beat Tom Brady. Can I please have him? Can I please get?
Fine, Tony. If you're a good boy, and if Minshew can beat the Bucks, then you can have him.
Like, why are we trading him like as though he is just a piece of meat? Like, you got to ask him if he's all right with you having him.
Oh, he would love me.
Yeah, does his opinion not matter?
I'm sure with that paycheck, he'd be all right.
Nah, I would.
It's 2022.
It would be magical. It would be magical.
So y'all are all taking the Bucks, but just not the points.
Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Bucks money. Money line, but not spread.
Okay. All right, then you got the Niners and Cowboys, and it's only Cowboys -3, which kind of
Cowboys.
I'm on the Cowboys.
Yeah, I'm Cowboys on that one.
Yeah,
dude.
49er. I know. Like, yo,
Dude, the Niners.
if you pick the 49ers, you should pick the Eagles then.
Who's the Niners?
You know, they're just kind of one of those teams that
I don't want to go all favorites. There's gonna be some. Fuck it, I'll go Niners.
all chalk.
I'll go Niners. I'll go Niners. Fuck it, I'll go
Is
Niners.
anybody writing this down, or are we just saying? Let's just say.
No,
I'll go Niners, dude. The Cowboys, I think they're gonna choke in the playoffs.
All right, you got Steelers at Chiefs. Chiefs -12.5.
Steelers. It's a Cinderella story.
Oh,
could you imagine?
I mean, yeah, it's possible. They could.
12.5 is a ton of points.
That is a lot.
But the Chiefs, I've seen the Chiefs put up a ton of points before. And I've seen the Steelers really take a dump.
And it's
this season
playoff
a few
football.
times.
Yeah, dude, I'll take the Chiefs and the points.
I'm taking the Steelers without the spread. I'm taking the money line. I think they're going to win the game.
You think they're going to win the
What?
game? Okay.
Oh, so then you get a double bet. Then no, that is crazy. You took the triple.
You think you really think the Steelers are going to beat Kansas City?
Hey, it's possible. I mean, I'm not.
No,
it's not a crazy thing.
Dude, listen. I'll tell you a couple of reasons why. Number one, Big Ben's riding a high right now, right? And I think that there's a narrative that if they were, I think the teams that they want to see in the Super Bowl in the NFL are going to be the Patriots or the Steelers from the AFC, because then you can have Big Ben doing exactly what Peyton Manning did, going out on a high and retiring with a Super Bowl win. So I think he's going to have the benefit of officials, rolling his direction. But also, Kansas City has looked vulnerable this year. Like when facing, even the most mundane teams.
Not even close. That was
true,
so early
dude.
in the season. Now they've
That was
won
the
like
first
9
10 games
in
of the
a row.
season.
The Steelers stink. Ben Roethlisberger can barely throw it from here to the
Hey, listen,
door
I'm not
over
saying
there.
it's going to happen. I'm predicting
the
it to
Chiefs
happen.
and the points now. Cody, CK talked me into it. I was worried about the spread being too big, but now I think it's too little.
Taking the Chiefs and the points.
Hey, Greg, if I'm going 49ers and CK is going Steelers, I feel like you should just go Philadelphia.
I did.
Am I wrong in that?
He
Like that's
did
our
go
underdog.
Philadelphia. He
I did go
did.
Philadelphia.
No, he did go
So
Philly.
you did? Like I thought you took Tampa
I'm
Bay.
the person that didn't. No, I'm the only mug that
Okay.
don't take me.
All right, I like it.
Well,
All right.
There's one game left, and I think it actually sounds like the most interesting one. It's Arizona at Rams, and it's Rams -4. It's a good.
Rams have the upper hand on that one, really?
Yeah.
They're a better team.
The Rams are good, but
do
they
they
have
have DeAndre Hopkins
underperformed.
back?
I think he is coming back for the first
Where is
So
it
the
at?
Rams are good, but
in St. or in LA.
It's in LA.
that doesn't. Yeah, that don't matter.
Yeah, I don't care. Both teams travel well.
Fickle,
the Monday
fickle.
night game.
Well, and they're fickle fans, and I would say
The Rams
this is the
probably got
Rams
some
are a
fans.
better team that has underperformed. The Cardinals are a worse team that has overperformed. Right? Like, I mean, is that we've been hesitant to believe that the Cardinals are legit.
Yeah, but
Like, they are a team that you think that their record is better than who they are. And
That's
the Rams
tough,
are a
though.
team that you think their record is worse than who they truly are. I'm taking the Cardinals, baby.
I'm
You
taking
wanna
the
complete
Cardinals
the
as well.
cycle, the cycle of everybody's got to take an underdog.
I'm taking the Cardinals too,
Tony
so I'll
just
take the
joined
underdog
it.
in this one too.
All right.
But yeah,
Yeah, dude, just on principle alone, I'm going Cardinals. I don't like the Rams.
Now I feel like I gotta.
No, I don't like the Rams. I never did like the Rams because to me they're the perfect LA vain super team. Every famous person that you've ever fucking heard of to ever play football goes to Los Angeles to try and win a
they're the
championship.
Yankees. They're trying to buy a title.
Yeah, dude. It's
They're
like
trying to buy a
I'm
title.
not into that. I like teams that cultivate their own talent. And I like some players
I
on
just
that,
wanna kiss
on that,
my
on that
cousin.
Cardinals team. And JJ
mean-
Watt, I don't know what matters, but JJ Watt's coming back, I think.
They designated him to return. I don't know. I think that starts a 3-week process, doesn't it?
They said that he'd
He's
be
more
ready
of a
for the
motivational
playoffs.
piece anyway.
Yeah.
But
This is so hard for me. Like I want to, so I'm of the mind that I want to go Cardinals, but I also want to see Matt Stafford actually be able to come out. I mean, even though he has been an up and down, he's been a bit inconsistent this year. He's had a lot of really high games, like where he is incredible, right? And then he's had a lot of like, but I want to see him actually, after leaving Detroit, not even just to rub their noses in it, to show, hey, listen, you guys just didn't know how to fucking handle this guy. But yeah, I'm gonna go the Rams. I'm going Rams. I think Stafford's gonna come out and he's gonna light up that defense.
hey, I wanted to ask earlier, what just kind of off the wall that we're talking about the Rams. What would have happened if Stafford would have came to Carolina? We would have killed his
Nothing.
career.
He would have been dead.
We,
Yeah,
we
he
would
would
have
have gotten
killed
injured.
his career. Can you
He would have been
imagine that?
another Alex Smith.
Yeah, he
No.
you'd have never heard from him again after this year.
Oh, you're
No,
talking about where he broke his leg?
no. CK, when I say Alex Smith,
Injured.
I mean like had his fucking leg torn off.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been good for him, I think.
So glad he didn't come for his sake. So glad.
Yeah. Dude, he saved us. He saved us by stiffing us.
All right. You're listening to the longest running Panthers podcast on the internet. And that's when I say the longest running Panthers podcast, it's been going on for 3 hours and 17 minutes. Also, we have been doing this podcast every Tuesday night since 2013.
We've been live since 2013, actually. Like we haven't stopped broadcasting.
This is a 24/7 podcast. You come in night and day, just hang out.
Our internet bill and power bill would be absolutely fucking crazy.
Listen to this. There's, I think it's Reply All, or it used to be called Reply All, and it's a podcast. I forget whoever it's made by, but they do all these cool, like just one-off tech stories. Like they just try to find these bizarre. So like this one person, one of my there's two favorite episodes I have. The one is where when Bitcoin popped off, like it went from $1,000 to $12,000. You know what I'm saying? Like back in when it was just like this roller coaster of awesomeness. So they found their old friend who is a writer for the Atlantic. And when she was in college, she tried to buy some pot off of, or she didn't try to buy, she bought some weed off of the Silk Road, which is like an old dark website. So she like lived in New York City. She went on the internet. She got somebody to deliver her some weed or some ecstasy or something, and they needed Bitcoin to pay for it. So the whole episode was about her. She was like, shit, I think I might have a Bitcoin or two left in my wallet from when I bought that weed 5 years ago or whatever. And so they interviewed like all of these, like they got these people to help them, like digital forensic people, and they unlocked her account. They finally got it. Like they couldn't get into it, and they got into it, and it was like $780. Like they were hoping for like 56,000. You know, imagine if you had like $56,000 and you had it just because you accidentally left over some change.
I heard a worse story than that. A guy had a bunch of Bitcoin in his wallet and had bought a bunch of it, left it, and forgot about it. This is before Bitcoin blew up, right?
Is this the 3-password joint? Where
yeah, this is the dude who couldn't figure out the password to get back into his shit. And you only get a certain number of times to enter your password.
Yeah, like if they enter it one more time, he loses like $12 million
it forever. So this guy has all this money that he can't get to because if he messes up his password like one or two more times, it all goes away forever.
And I wanted to the other one that was real cool. Actually, there's 3 of them. The other one is they interviewed the dude who invented the pop-up ad. Like the actual dude who wrote the code, who, you know, a pop-up ad, like the things that used to kill our computer. And like this guy like wrote an apology to the world for what he did. I mean, it's crazy. It's like a crazy story. Like he had to go into hiding, but like he literally apologized to the world for being the dude who wrote the code for a pop-up ad. Wow. And then my third favorite episode is that there was a live, and we were talking about C3 24/7. The first person who ever did the like watch me live cam, like it was some girl. She was like a college girl, and she just put a webcam up and webcams in her house in like 1996. Right when the internet's come, you know what I'm saying? It was like,
time, dude.
Yeah, I mean, it was like crazy, but it was like documenting her life. So I mean, like crazy, and it is wild listening to this stuff. So I bet you it's that wild listening to the C3 Panthers podcast 24/7, the longest running Panthers podcast, 3 hours and 21 minutes, because I took 10 minutes to tell you how long this podcast is.
I wonder why it goes so long.
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
Can we please ice some brothers up?
We can.
And get out of here. The longest running segment of the Panthers podcast is where we ice up someone. It's our homage to Steve Smith. Everyone is fair game. You can tell that person, whatever that idea, that person, that thing is, to ice up, toughen up, to get it together. I've iced up a kid, a 12-year-old kid in Oklahoma. Anything goes when it comes to the ice up pick. I guess I'll start because I got a slide. Is that okay?
Sure.
All I gotta say is this. Actually, I got 2 ice up picks. I want to make the show longer. This one, Nick Carboni puts this up, and WCNC puts this up here. They put this on television. I can't see it, Cody. You keep putting the comments over it.
My bad.
All of a sudden is that as the Panthers are getting stomped by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in what has been a 5-year losing streak, the WCNC television network, their study shows that Panther fans among the happiest in the NFL. Ice up. Get it together. We can't be the happiest. We suck. All we do is bitch at this point. Give us a quarterback. Give us a life. Give us a winning record. Give us back-to-back winning seasons. Don't sell us happiness as you beat us. Man, we're just domestic violent people. My second ice up pick goes to Scott Fitterer's haircut. God, I'm sorry. Why does it go every direction? Quarter of it's going straight up. Some of it's going down. Some of it's going back up. We'll go back. I'll show you this. You can say this. It's not this dude. I don't like the haircut. What is this?
That's a early 2000s preppy high school haircut. Bangs.
Well, whatever it is, dude.
He
This
just needs
guy
frosted
got to
tips and he's
change
good to
it,
go.
bro. He got to change it. Ice up Scott Fitterer's haircut, bro.
Yeah, he's definitely had that hair. Like, I think he's had that hair design in place since he was a frat in college.
So
Like since we started the podcast.
Yeah. Since we started live streaming the 24/7 podcast. Yep.
I'll go next. Boomer Esiason was on his radio show and he got a rumor on his phone and he felt the need to share it to the world.
Read it? I could read the whole thing if you want me to.
Go ahead. You can read it.
All right, I'll read the whole thing. Boom, the Rodgers saga continues to get crazier and crazier. I've been told by multiple people in Aaron's direct circle that if the Packers make the Super Bowl, he will use the week leading up to the Super Bowl to prove a major point. He will threaten the NFL by saying he won't play in the big game or next season if they don't eliminate some of the COVID-related rule. One big one that upsets him the most is the testing of non-symptomatic players. He's told Jordan Love to be ready. Like you said, he's got to make it first. But Super Bowl week will be set on fire and send Goodell in a frenzy navigating the situation. Now, can I say what area of the country this is from? I mean, who are we protecting really here at this point? I mean, okay.
Of course, you want it out, right? I mean, you want him to.
So they think that they've actually got something, but it turned out to be just a fucking prank. And Boomer Esiason believed it. Him and his buddy believed it, that Aaron Rodgers was actually going to sit out the Super Bowl to protest COVID restrictions. Dude, you can't make some dumb shit like that up. This is it's a testament to show you that everything that you hear when it comes to these rumors, dude, this is how it starts, man. It's all fake. It's kind of sad that Donald Trump coined the term fake news because now everyone kind of sees it as like a Donald Trumpian Republican type thing. But the news is really fake, y'all. In sports media, in real media, the news is fake. Stop believing it. This is how bullshit rumors get spread. This is what happens all the time. And it's just ridiculous, man. So to Boomer Esiason, did you know he was so happy too? He thought he had a big ass story that he just put forth on air. And he was going to be the first one. It wasn't to be, Boomer. It wasn't to be. Ice up, son.
Okay, you want to go?
You go ahead, Bad Daddy.
Okay. I'm gonna open up the kimono here a little bit. I'm gonna be a little vulnerable for my ice up pick. If you know me, you know that I'm an animal lover. I've got 5 goats. I've got 8 hens, 3 roosters, a pig, and up until recently 2 dogs. Had an accident a few weeks ago. One of my dogs got out and got hit by a car, and we rushed him to the vet. And I want to start out by saying that I do really appreciate vets and everything you guys do. You've helped me out in a lot of situations, and y'all do great. But just for this one situation to get it off my chest, I'm icing you guys up. We took him to the vet, and initial prognosis is that he's going to be okay. They come to us later, and they tell him that he's got a cut in his side, and one of his ribs has punctured his lung. So it's kind of like trying to blow up a balloon with a hole in it. You really can't get air into it. And there's options for surgery, but they can't do surgery until the next day at 8 o'clock, which is strange. And it cost $15,000 up front. $15,000 up front, and it may not work. And that's just the surgery.
Nice
That's
knowing
not
you,
everything
son.
after that. Okay. So you're put in this position where you really can't. Because I mean, I'm sure there are people who can, but I don't know anybody who just has $15,000 laying around. to be able
15
to do something like that.
grand? No,
Yes,
nobody
and it
does
may not
that for a
work.
dog. It doesn't even work even if you're a millionaire. You shouldn't even do it.
How do they
So-
justify that?
And
what
that's what I
about
mean.
what they're doing is worth that much fucking money, dude?
Exactly. And I get it, man. Medical stuff for humans costs an insane amount of money. So why wouldn't it for dogs?
It's
Especially
nice
with how
knowing
rare
you,
it probably
though.
is. But
Nice knowing you.
unfortunately, yeah, that was the decision they gave us. I don't have $15,000 laying around, and we had to make the decision then. And we lost our dog. But like I said, I appreciate vets and everything you guys do, and just for this one moment, just to get it off my chest, just ice up, because 15
Well,
grand is
if it makes
absolutely
you
insane.
if it makes you feel any better, I heard this joke one time, and I think I even did it once at the vet. And it's like they come back to you and you be like, "Oh man, he's got this allergy or whatever. It's gonna be, you got the visit, you got the medicine, you got to do this or say something," and they say it's like $287, and you're like, "Man, fuck it, just put that dog down." And they're like, "No, you shouldn't do that." You're like, "Man, I'm good. Just put the dog." And they'll be like, "We'll do it for free." Like, you know what I'm saying? Like a $57 bill. You're like, "Man, fuck, I'm just gonna take him out in the woods and kill him anyway."
Yeah, I'll say, the
That's
funniest thing
messed up.
about that, though, this is kind of dark humor, but anyway, is that it actually costs more to put the dog down than that.
No, it doesn't. Oh, what? Then 57? Yeah, it's like $210 to put a dog down.
Yeah, if you want to do the cremation and everything, it's like 500.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, but either way, sorry, I don't mean to bring anything down, but I wanted to ice that
Sorry,
up because
I don't mean to be
15
dissing on
grand
the
is
dog
crazy.
No,
talk,
ice
but
them up,
like,
You're
man.
cool, man. It's been, I've come to terms with the situation.
I dollar cost average when we get to that point.
And they always do it to the people that are grieving, the people that are torn up, man.
Yeah, because this all happens
Yeah.
in like an hour. Like it's one of those emergency things, Like, so
I my in-laws used to have these two little dogs, and my father-in-law is real cool. He's awesome, man. I love my father-in-law. But the dog had cataracts, like blind as a mug.
Yeah.
Like, man, like you can see these white globes, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we can give it surgery. It's gonna cost $7,000." He was like, "So let that dog walk in the walls." So, I mean, like, I'm sorry, like, you just gonna be like, I know my man Joey is surviving just fine.
So me, I'm gonna go back to football with mine, and this is an entire season culminated into one, but it really kind of just peaked when you look at what the Chargers Raiders game ended up being. I don't know. I mean, it was all over the news, like both teams, and I'm not a proponent of them having done this, but could have made it to the playoffs had they just
They
kneeled
could have
it out.
split pot,
right?
If we were betting poker, they could have split pot.
Right. And so there could have been an avenue in which they did that. Now, is that in good sport? Probably not. But the way that I look at it, if I was a coach, is like, listen, we're going to get our guys going into the next game fresh. It's like we got a first round bye, for the playoffs. Like, and why not do it? Right. There's a win-win for everybody involved. Well, they didn't go about it that way. They continued to go down. Chargers fought back. They had at the helm with Justin Herbert at the helm. They came back and it was one of the craziest fucking endings, because you almost thought it was going to end in a tie. It went into overtime. And why I say this is an entire season of an ice up is Staley has been making questionable decision after questionable decision as a head coach for the Chargers all year, going for it when he didn't need to go for it. And in the most ridiculous ways. Well, the Raiders were driving right after they had both teams had already kicked field goals to tie it. So whoever got a field goal next was going to win. That's how the overtime rules work after both people have had an opportunity to have the ball. Well, they were on the 39-yard line, and it looked as though the Las Vegas Raiders were going to be content with the clock running down and maybe trying to do a field goal from the 39, which would have been a lot harder. For whatever reason, zero issue, like there is zero reason why you should have done this as a head coach. They decide to call a timeout. at 39 seconds left in the game, meaning that the Raiders were going to have to run another play before kicking the field goal, because if they kick the field goal and they missed, they're giving the Chargers plenty of time. Well, the Chargers just run the ball, and they run the ball another 15 yards, giving them a chip shot field goal and win the game, go to the playoffs, and the Chargers go home to sit on the couch with the rest of us. I'm giving the ice up to Staley because of all the years of questionable decisions like that, where he has caused his team to lose because of those stupid decision making, and all in the names of analytics, which I think now we have gotten over the analytic phase. Analytic phase is absolutely not a recipe for long-term success in the league, and I think that we're starting to see that. Yeah, Staley, ice up as you come sit on the couch with us.
Ice up.
It's a television show. Remember,
Mhm.
they have who in mind, who they want to win, and I'm sure the people follow scripts.
You have listened to the longest running Panthers podcast in the history of Tuesday nights.
More ways than one.
I wonder if there has been a longer show than what we've done tonight. Holy cow, it's over. Thank Jesus. Like the Carolina Panthers, season is over. The number's 252-228-5098 and call in. We'll be around, man. We're going to be doing the podcast next Tuesday. We're going to be doing the Friday free-for-all. We got some cool things already lined up. We've been brainstorming on the show in front of you about some watch-alongs together. Some Cody and I got a lot of debating to do. We're going to prep you for the Senior Bowl coming up, the Combine coming up, free agency next week on Tuesday night. I'm shooting for that year-end review, fellas. I think it's time, unless for some reason we fire a head coach and we're in interviews and we got to talk about all that news too. We're going to cut up a lot of this podcast and present it to you because you've been the best fans. You're wonderful. And I got the best co-hosts. These mugs don't quit. They keep coming on with me. They keep hanging out with me, despite it being awful, an awful season. I appreciate Cody, Greg, CK. Thank you. Cody, how can they get after you?
Yeah, find me on Twitter at CodyLac, CodyLac. Check out drafttech.com tomorrow. I think you're going to be very interested in who I have the Panthers selecting. I am the Panthers analyst at drafttech.com. And every Friday at 7 p.m., we do the Friday free-for-all, man. And I'm trying to get more and more people in there. I want C-Dog to show up one of these days. Karen Choi. I want to see Karen in there one of these days. Foot Clan 004. I don't even care that you're a Lions fan, man. The Friday free-for-all is for absolutely everyone. Come and hang out every Friday at 7. And by the way, we went almost like 4 hours last Friday, man.
Really the longest podcast.
Yeah, man, dude, we really are the longest running podcast in more ways than one. So, holla at your boy.
Ladies, you love us. Love us long time. CK, how you doing, man? Where can they get after you?
You can get me on the Twitters, on the TikToks, on the Facebook streaming at Codizzle Allen. Pretty much all of those social media platforms. You can go check me out. Yeah, we seriously are the longest running Panthers podcast. And it's also adding to a long list of reasons for my wife to want to divorce me. So
True. Welcome to that club.
Yeah, so keep on watching, man. We're sacrificing our lives for you guys. So come along, bro. Come along for the ride. But yeah, come show me some love on the social medias.
Greg, if they are Star Wars freaky freaks, where they need to check out Friday.
Oh, bro, Friday we're having a Star Wars orgy. I'm calling it a Star Orgy. It don't matter if you're a Twi'lek or a Darian or a droid or we're Jedi or a Sith. Just come join us. We're gonna be talking about everything Star Wars, books, movies, Book of Boba Fett, Mandalorian, anything and everything out there. We got some favorites lists we're gonna go through. I've got some special guests coming on. It's gonna be a really fun Star Wars time because I've just been really feeling Star Wars lately. So had to have a Star Orgy. But 9 p.m.
Star
Eastern Standard
Wars.
Time. It's going to be right after the Friday free-for-all. And you know what? There's a lot of people in the Friday free-for-all who hop into the SCS show afterwards. I appreciate y'all. It's a really fun time. You know, and like I said, if you're a Star Wars fan, this is going to be a big one this Friday.
That is the Super Civil Servants podcast. You can find them on YouTube. You can find Greg at the Bat Daddy 52 on Twitter. I'm Tony Dunn at cat_chronicles. This is the C3 Panthers podcast, which can be found everywhere. YouTube's, Facebook's. Actually, it's not on TikTok or Instagram or anything. So we do Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. That's our joint. The YouTube chat keeps us going. iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, wherever you get your audio podcast. Download it. Even if you listen tonight, just download it, thumbs up it, and then dump it. Do me that favor. Tell a friend. Tell a friend. Be somebody cool. It's free. We love you. 252-228-5098. We'll see you either tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We're always up here. We don't quit. We don't quit. Keep pounding. Take us out of here, Cody.
Until next time. Keep pounding.
Keep pounding.